we got a pretty good chance. I think we're going to be able to go find something that we want to do, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Carlo was just asking me, what'd you do for your 50th last year? I don't know. I don't remember. So I don't know. I wouldn't imagine that 51 is going to be the big blowout.
No, that's the age right there. I mean, 51, that's the big one.
It's not the 50. You want the 51.
No, you want the 51.
51
but what I want to know about
Randy Johnson.
So Chris said in the open that you had a little birthday party on Saturday.
Well,
I don't know about you, Sliwa, but I'm looking through my text messages right now. I don't
keep looking, brother.
I don't see anything that says, "Hey, Greg, I'm having people over on Saturday." I saw Jorge was there.
Yep.
I saw Chris
Everybody was
there.
Yep.
Did it not go through?
Oh no, I didn't get that one. That one
people we used to work with 7 years ago were there that he hasn't seen in 7 years.
Maybe I sent it to Greg Bregman.
Bergman. Yeah,
I get confused between those two.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, that would have been nice to hang out.
We'll get it done at some point.
Yeah.
I can't give you a hard and fast date.
Any other day.
We'll get it done at some point.
Try, Greg.
What do you have going on like a Tuesday? Not a Tuesday, like a Friday. Friday's probably the best night. Like a Friday night somewhere in Feb.
Booked?
Yep. Perfect. Greg, what about you?
Oh yeah.
Everyone's booked.
No, that's even better.
Always booked.
If you guys are all booked, then tell me that date. And
you know what? No,
you don't have to.
I want to know the day. I'm going.
Just don't throw.
I did throw one. It was a wonderful time. We had a blast.
Great time at the SC-UCLA game.
I had a really nice time. I got to see some people I hadn't seen in a while. I got Jorge's approval. By the way, showed me some tortilla tricks that I didn't know before. It's a very exciting night. I have a question for you guys.
You should get drunk tonight. Just get blasted.
Saturday night was a long night.
Hammered.
I think I'm okay. I think I got some runway before I need to do that again.
Just disappoint your family tonight. Just say, what's wrong with
I've
Dad?
already disappointed them a million different ways, different times.
What is wrong with Dad?
So last night, Susan and I went to dinner with some old friends of ours who I want to preface this by saying I really like them. They're like some of my favorites in the world. I really enjoy their company. We've known them for forever and ever, and they moved out of California.
Wait a second. Who are you?
What do you mean?
You like somebody?
I like a lot of people.
Every person
I like
that
you
you've ever...
like 60% of the time.
Not when I prank you. But Sliwa, he talks about all of his neighbors and all these people that he doesn't want to talk to, he doesn't like.
This could simply be a radio story for radio. So I'm curious to hear where it goes as well.
Yeah.
Well,
first
of all, no,
we're not
going to tell falsehoods. I do not want to talk to my neighbors, but I don't dislike them. I don't like them, but I don't dislike them. I don't hate them. I just don't want to ever get to know them.
Describing that to anybody, if you said, hey, I have a description for my neighbor, that person's going to walk away and say, yeah, he doesn't like his neighbor.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know their names. How can I dislike them?
This all adds to the...
Oh, my God, you like somebody.
I can't dislike somebody when I don't even know their name. So that's not fair. That being said, we go to dinner last night. They moved out of California. They live out of state, and they came back for the first time in like 6 months or so. I hadn't seen them in a long time. And it was Tuesday night, or Monday night, I guess it was last night. And say to Susan, we're driving over there. And again, this is not that I didn't want to go. I did want to go. I was looking forward to it. I like them a lot. I like her. I like him. I was looking forward to it. But we're driving over there, and we're going to arrive at around a little bit before 7, just a little, like 5 or 6 minutes before 7. I say to Sue, hey, listen, you know that I like these guys a lot, but can we make this relatively quick? Because I want to go home. I need to get blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no problem. So fast forward, it's 10 o'clock at night. We've been there 3 hours. We're sitting at the kitchen table at their place, talking and
Susan's
just
awesome.
catching
She's not
up.
going anywhere.
The couple that we're with does thank you so much for coming, which is the international sign for the night is over, right? And I'm looking at her like, this is where you stand up, Susan.
Susan's like, yeah,
she
I
grabs
would love
a
a glass of wine
and starts pouring another glass. And it's like, what aren't you picking up here?
Susan's the best, man.
What are you not
amazing.
getting about this? And I'm like kind of kicking her under the table like, hey, this means time to leave. Right? So she said, no. Well, so tell me about it. It was unreal. Not only was there never an attempt to make it anything other than a full night, but when our friends were ready to, it's 10 It's Monday night. It's time to shut it down and get ready to start the next day.
Pieces are starting to come together, fellas.
Pours another glass of wine, and there we go.
You tired this morning?
No, I'm fine.
Tired this morning?
No, I'm fine. I was good. Like I said, Saturday was a long day. So last night was just another day. Had a little sushi, had some water, had a little. I was taking it really easy.
I don't think I've ever heard that combination.
Yeah,
I do sushi and water.
I did last night.
Sushi.
There was really no other options.
Water doesn't belong with.
What time did you get home?
A little after 10. We weren't far from home. We were only about 15 or 20 minutes from home. But it was. I don't know how to do the thing that I did where I liked them. I wanted to go. I had a really nice time, but it was about an hour and a half too long, and she didn't want to leave, even though they were ready for us to leave. I don't know how to get out.
Did they say come over at 7?
Well, Susan got home from work a little late, so we got a little bit of a late start.
So, if you guys could have pushed that an hour early, you're out of there.
We were supposed to, but Susan got hung up at work, so she got a little bit of a late start. But how do you get out of that? How do you tell your significant other that, listen, I would like to leave after a couple of hours, and she knows I do, and she just doesn't care.
I was going to say, is she pretty good at that when
She's
you give her a heads up?
She's the worst at that. She's the worst. People are putting on their pajamas half the time we go to their house, and she's settling in to see what's coming up next.
If I told Lady Slee, hey, I'm going to give you a time. By this time, and I'm going to bring this up. When I bring this up, that means it's time to go.
Cornbread.
She'll be pretty good about it. She'll be cornbread. Cornbread is the code word.
Secret word.
She'd be pretty good about it. And if she wasn't, then I would tell her, okay, well, you get home when you can. I'm leaving now.
I don't know how to do it without being like hostile. I've tried to do it politely. I've tried to make it to the point where, listen, before we go, and this is not me trying to dodge this. I liked the night. I had a really good time. But can you just please meet me halfway? That when we hit that 2-hour mark, that we kind of start to move towards the door.
What was the conversation in the car when you got in the car?
I didn't say a word. Not about that. I mean, it's not like I sat there silently. But at this point, you can only make it worse, right? There's no way to make it better. Yeah.
But no, so you go. It's very easy. Just be like, oh, you know what? Hey, look at your watch. I don't even know if you wear a watch. But look at your phone. Be like, I got a really early day tomorrow, Susan. I know, like I'm having a great time, but Susan, let's go.
You know when we finally got to leave? Al just stood up and said, Susan, it's time to go. Oh, okay.
Did she down the rest? of
And
her
the
wine?
second, like I pushed back from my chair and stand up, the other two people popped right up. Like they
were ready.
They were ready. They were ready to call it a night. And then you walk downstairs, and then you walked out to the street, and then there's a little more lingering. There's a little more goodbyes. Susan's firing questions.
Sure. Now she's got to go use the restroom real quick. She's got to use the restroom real quick. I'm surprised that the drive home was so...
There's no win in that, Al. I've been married 25 years. Yeah. There's no win in escalating.
But are you trying to win?
At that point.
I'm just trying to get out what's inside of me.
No, because that only starts more hostilities. There's nothing in there.
Because then she's going to go back to, well, remember in 2008...
No, she doesn't roll like that. But this is the thing. I have a radio show. You guys are my radio therapists, and I'm just spilling to you, hoping to... all I need to hear is, yeah, Trav, that's kind of messed up. That's all I need to hear, and I'll be able to let it go and move on.
I don't know. The more I hear
that wasn't messed up.
I'm actually now with Susan on this one.
I think. Taylor, are you on my side on this?
After the host says it's been a good night, or what did they say?
Thank you so much for coming, guys. It's so good to see you
That's
again.
when you say, okay, that's my cue. That's our cue, Susan.
Taylor, I'm putting my hands on the chair back.
You have to say something. You have to repeat what they said, and then...
I think I probably did. I think I probably said, yeah, it's been great to see you guys too, and that's when she started pouring the wine.
I can't help you then.
So this is my fault?
No, I think she's a lost cause.
Well, no, I've given up on that. I just kind of want to. I just want vindication that my feelings are valid. I just want somebody to say
the way you were aggressive.
I think you were fine.
The way you were aggressive at the end, where it's like you just got.
We got to go.
Okay. How long was that before they were giving the? It was like a half hour later.
No, it was less than that. 15 minutes.
Okay. Because I think, hey, we got to go should have happened right at that time.
Yeah, probably.
And when she started pouring wine, you'd say, are you taking that in the car? Because we're out of here. We're leaving.
Can she get that to go? You got a coffee tumbler for that?
We're leaving.
This is the difference between you being married for 25 years and you
perhaps
just being with somebody for I don't know how long.
Perhaps. There are some I need to get it out, but I need to get it out in a safe environment, and this feels like a safer environment.
Did she say anything in the car?
All she wanted to do was recap everything we talked about for 3 hours.
She was in a happy,
it was so good
mood.
to see him again. It was nice to see him. I enjoy their company so much.
So you were annoyed.
I wasn't annoyed at the night. I was annoyed at the length of time past the point when we could have left.
So you were annoyed.
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit. Of course you were.
I wasn't annoyed, but I want to make
You
it
wanted to
very
go
clear.
home.
Yes.
It's Monday.
And so we get home.
I don't want to
right?
be there.
We get home, and it's like 10:15 or whatever.
Said, let's go back.
And she's like, so I said, I'm going upstairs. I'm going to bed. She's like, you're going to bed? I'm like, yes. It's the middle of the night for me. Do you know? We've lived together for a long time. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I was over at somebody else's house at 10 o'clock tonight. What do you think's going to happen? And the Niners blew out the cards, which means I have to go through another week of the eliminator pool. So that
That's right,
didn't
you
work
do.
in my favor. I didn't even get
Yeah.
to see him get blown out, which probably works in my favor. But just nothing came up Travis
gotta
last
be
night.
honest with you. These therapy sessions are kind of nice. That just listening to you.
Anything you want to get off your chest next segment?
Me, no.
Yeah,
I want
you.
more him.
Right.
Oh, I got more. Wait till I get back from
I
Thanksgiving.
wish that music started 10 minutes ago.
Wait till I get back from Thanksgiving. I'll have more. There's a lot of things. I got a lot of problems with you people.
He's going to send us a group text. Can we do a show tomorrow? Trav, it's Friday.
Yeah,
Well, no, let's just do a show after Clapper.
we're going to do the airing of grievances,
I got a lot of problems with you people.
right? We'll knock it all out. We'll feel a lot better. All right, that feels much, much better. SC is on the cusp of getting into the Final Four. They're also on the cusp of playing in the Holiday Bowl if things go a little bit differently. That's next. It's Trav and Slee.
As part of the Subaru Love Promise Initiative, ESPNLA and Subaru's Southern California retailers have teamed up to recognize and award a student scholar athlete $2,500 in cash as part of the Subaru Loves to Learn campaign. High school coaches and parents, nominate your child or student who have excelled in the classroom and on the field. Go to ESPNLA.com. Subaru gives back to its community, not because it's good for business, but because it's the right thing to do. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Tuesday right now.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Travis.
happy birthday to you.
It's my girl. It's none other than Lilo.
I was looking for a way to surprise you on your birthday, Trav. And
Thank you.
The cameos for Lindsay Lohan are about $500 a
It's
piece.
too much.
Yeah,
Are
it's
they
a lot
really?
of money.
It's too much.
Yeah,
So,
that's about $490 too much.
I was going to say we're down for $25. I think was our limit there, or we will give her some points on Starbucks. and see if we could negotiate that in a way. You know what I mean?
She's in high demand, apparently.
So you get Starbucks, you get your free drink on your birthday.
Oh yeah.
So I went.
Dang it.
I went.
Why didn't I do that?
Yeah, I got a 5-shot latte, so I'm a little bit juiced at the moment.
5 shots?
Yeah, that's
What are
why
you
when
doing
you
with-
said to me today, "Hey, you want an illy?" I'm like, "No, I think I'm good."
Well, yeah,
think
but
I
you
need
have to
that
think
today.
about it for a second.
Have
you
you
were going to
ever
get
got
more?
a 5-shot latte?
Yeah, whenever it's my birthday and they're free, I put as many as will fit in the cup.
Did you walk around telling everybody, like when you were in line, how's it going? Today's my birthday.
Okay, so it's funny. I had that
4
moment.
people in front of you.
I walked into Starbucks. It was like 5:45 this morning.
My effing birthday.
Order on the app, right? You don't order on the app very often, but you can use your birthday reward. You tap the button, and I was afraid that it would notify somebody in the store.
And they do an intercom that they take out.
So I walk in, I grab it off the little tray thing, and I'm walking out. And it's the Starbucks I hit, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm in there fairly regularly, and it's early, so there's not a bunch of people in there. And I pick it up, and I'm walking out the door. Nobody's saying anything. I'm like, all right, I made it out of here. It's a piece of cake. And the young lady who's working there, she goes, "Oh, happy birthday." I'm like, "Thank you." And then one of the guys that's working the sandwich thing, he looks at me like, whatever, like I give a damn.
Yeah.
Because
Because I think it's required at Starbucks if you work there. If one person brings it up, then the other person has me. He's like, son of a, I don't want to tell this guy
in it,
happy
and
birthday.
I wasn't interested either. Thank you for the Lindsay Lohan birthday wishes, Taylor.
Of course.
Now I'm trying to think how I would have felt about a real Lindsay Lohan cameo. Is it really $500?
Yeah, personalized and everything. I think it lasts a minute.
Well,
Got to save up for next year.
yeah, that's a lot of money.
Could have negotiated. Hey, 20 seconds. What's that price structure look like? Do you guys have options?
Prorated. Just here, give me the per second rate.
Can you
And-
just say Travis? You don't have to say happy birthday. Just say Travis. That's good enough. Here's $60.
Still hoping that the comeback's around the corner. I'm still holding out faith that she's getting ready to like SC. Slee. SC was dormant for a long time. They were at the peak of their powers under Pete Carroll, and
They went a little quiet
winning
after that.
everything and national championships and Heisman trophies and high level NFL draft picks to not really so much of that, and bad football teams to they got it fixed. They gave Lincoln Riley multiple houses and millions of dollars and
Whatever you need.
went out and found the best players in the country, said, we'll take him, we'll take him, we'll take him. And they put together a team that's been absolutely fantastic. Caleb Williams is your betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Got Notre Dame this weekend. And by the way, we're going to do our picks coming up later on. Last I looked, SC was a 6.5-point favorite right there. Got Oregon probably in the Pac-12 championship game. They need to beat Oregon State. But we know the path to get to the Final Four. Win those 2 games, and it's not for sure, but it's extremely likely. What happens if they kick one of those? What if they kick both of those? And now all of a sudden, instead of, hey, we're in the Final Four first year, Lincoln Riley, Heisman Trophy, it's like, enjoy the Holiday Bowl, brother. Because 2 losses, these are good teams they're playing. Notre Dame's good.
They are good
Oregon's
teams.
good.
Yep.
They could lose both of those
Easily
games.
lose both of those games. Yep.
Now you're in the Holiday Bowl, and it's like, yeah, what exactly did we get done in this first year? I know we're better than we were, but we're in the Holiday Bowl. We didn't do anything.
Okay, what if they split? What if they go 1-1 and they end up with 2 losses? And where would they
It
go?
depends on
I was
which
just
of the
gonna say,
losses it is. If they lose to Notre Dame, they can still go to the Rose Bowl. If
All
they
right.
lose to Notre Dame and beat Oregon, they'll go to the Rose Bowl. And that's a big deal.
Okay,
Going to the
if-
Rose Bowl is a big deal.
I don't disagree with that. I think if that scenario played out, you lost to Notre Dame, you beat Oregon, you win the Pac-12 championship in your first year as head coach, Lincoln Riley, and then you end up in the Holiday Bowl, and let's pretend we don't know. Maybe they go up against Michigan, or let's not.
You mean
I'm
the
I'm
Rose
sorry, not
Bowl?
the Holiday- Rose
Yeah,
Bowl.
yeah, yeah.
Let's not predict who that's going to be.
It'll probably be the loser
I
of
think
that
so.
game.
I think it's going to be that. If you set that scenario up, I'm still going to stick with
Huge win.
that's a great freaking season.
Agreed.
It's a great season.
Agreed.
And that's with having 2 losses and losing to Notre Dame. You got that 1 loss against Utah, or the 1-point loss against Utah. I'm still leaning towards that's a really, really good season. Great building blocks. You take it from there. The college football championship, it's very messy of how you get there. You obviously need a lot of help. Not only do you need help, You either need help or you need the committee to say, we really want USC in there. Mm-hmm. Like that. You need that. I think that's the, it's almost like if I have to put it in a certain way, I don't want to call it icing on the cake, but like I'm not expecting them to be in that top 4. I'm not.
Still.
I'm not.
You think they're going to drop one of those games?
Either they drop one of those games, or how do you take out one of the other? TCU, I'm not telling you that they have an impressive
one of them's going
record.
to drop themselves out, right? SC probably, when they drop those numbers today, they're probably going to be number 5. And 2 and 3 are going to play each other this weekend.
So Ohio State, Michigan, one of those teams, whichever. I guess the question is which one's a better loss, and I do get what you're saying. One of them will fall out. Is there any possibility that it's a 40 to 38 game, Ohio State wins by 2, Michigan has 1 loss against the number 2 team in the country, that they don't fall out of the top 4?
Possible, but unlikely. But yeah, it's possible. Because, look, they want, keep in mind, there's 2 things that are happening at the same time. You want to find the 4 best teams to put into this playoff, right?
Yep.
You're also putting together a television show. Mm-hmm. You're putting together a TV product that needs to be appealing to as many people as possible. And running back a game that we just saw isn't terribly appealing to anybody other than the Michigan and Ohio State fans, depending on who loses that game. Bringing in a West Coast audience, specifically a USC audience, is a no-brainer. If there's a way to put them in, if it were UCLA, if it were Oregon, I don't know if it's the same result. Everything else exactly the same. 1 loss.
Sure. Same resume.
Everything is the same, only you've got a big yellow O on your helmet as opposed to SC. I don't know if they put him in.
If this was 2 weeks ago, it probably wouldn't have been that same way. Before Tennessee got blown out this last weekend, they probably would have found a way to get in there. But because Tennessee lost, because TCU is right on the cusp of losing every single game. LSU has 2 losses. I mean, but LSU is going to. There's
where it goes haywire is if LSU beats Georgia.
Exactly, because then Georgia has a loss. LSU is the champion of the SEC.
They both go.
They both go.
They both go.
Exactly.
That's the mess.
But there's what could possibly happen too is that TCU goes undefeated. USC does beat Notre Dame. They do beat Oregon. They jump to 3.
I think that's really interesting. Because that allows you to miss Georgia, probably.
Right.
You could beat the Big Ten champ. That feels like a game that you could potentially
Ohio
win.
State, most likely?
Probably.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you just got to play one good game. And even if you don't, and you're in the national, if you lose in the national championship, if you lose by a few touchdowns, it's still a smash success. All of these things are still in play.
And
all of it.
So they win both. They beat Notre Dame. They beat Oregon. They're in.
I think so.
I think they're in now, unless LSU beats Georgia, because you can't take the SEC champion and not put them in.
For sure. If LSU beats Georgia, then all bets are off. But I really, and I know I'm repeating myself here a little bit, and Greg, I know you don't like this, but I know you know I'm right. Mm-hmm. The SC brand is unique.
It's a big-time brand.
They want them in, even if they're not one of the 4 best teams, and I think that they probably are. We'll see about that defense. But if they win those games, I short of LSU winning, I don't think that they can keep them out.
And the case that you're making is they beat 3 ranked teams to get in at the end where it matters most, and they win the Pac-12 championship. It's not like they have 2 losses. One of them's against Arizona or something. Like they would only have 1 loss against Utah, so it's not a crazy case to make.
The worst. Go ahead, Greg.
Sorry, and also because this is USC and that brand. I mean, at the beginning of the year, if you said, "Oh, they just went to the Rose Bowl and everything was fine," to go back to what you were talking about a second ago, yes, it is a successful season. But now, since you're there and right on the cusp of making the playoff and really have a really good shot of making the playoff, the Rose Bowl's not enough anymore.
I think
you're right there. You control your own destiny to a moment.
I'm with that.
I think it is. Well, that point is interesting. That point where he just said you control your own destiny.
Yep.
If I'd have told you, hey, you're at this stage of the season, you got Notre Dame at home, and then you got a Pac-12 championship against Oregon
to win to get in.
Yeah.
That part, I see what you're saying there, but it's so difficult for me to say, well, they got to the Rose Bowl and it's an unsuccessful season. Go look at where they were 12 months ago.
It's still successful, but the fact of the matter is you have your mind already up there like, we're getting in. This is a possibility. It'll be a disappointment.
It would be a disappointment right up until you run out on the field in the Rose Bowl and you realize you're right
but
back
USC
in. But
fans only care about getting to a college football playoff game.
The Rose Bowl's a big deal.
I don't think it's as
get
big
it.
of a deal as anymore as it used to be.
Not as big a deal as it is. It's
a big deal for UCLA.
They were the 7th best team in the Pac-12 last year, guys. They were
But
they're
they're the brand.
bad team.
If you
They
fast
are, but the
forward-
brand was dead until this year. You're right that when you're on the doorstep like
Yep.
that, it would be very difficult to get that close and not get it. But if you lose to Notre Dame, you beat Oregon, and then you go out there and you get Michigan or Ohio State, and you're in the Rose Bowl.
That's big time.
That's a
It's
big
still
deal.
big time.
It's a big deal.
But then you're starting to think like UCLA football
No,
fans.
you're not.
No.
you're
Oh,
not.
you
That's right.
are a little bit.
Burke. Just think about this for a quick second, okay? Take any sport that you want. If the Dodgers were bad for 5 straight years, and yes, it's the Dodgers brand, and yes, you got to go win a World Series, all that, you're not saying to yourself, well, we got to the NL championship. What a waste of a season because we're the Dodgers. No, you were bad for 5 years. You weren't making the playoffs. It is a step in the right
Take the
direction.
baseball out.
But next year, to grow off of what you're saying, they're building something to where
I couldn't agree
the
more.
expectation is, like you said, USC. Okay, that's fine. You got to the Rose Bowl this year. Next year, it's got to be a little bit
The one
different.
that
There's
is
no
just
next.
an absolute faceplant is beat Notre Dame, right? Beat Notre Dame. Michigan. Let's say Ohio State's beat Michigan by 2 touchdowns. Okay, it's 35-17. Okay, they convincing Michigan. You're out.
Yep.
You weren't.
Which is probably
you were
what's
close,
gonna happen.
right?
Yeah.
You just need to beat, and you lose to Oregon because national championship, the Final Four, out. Rose Bowl, out. You're now at 2, and now you're playing in the Holiday Bowl or the Alamo Bowl or wherever the number 2 bowl affiliation for the. That's the one that you were on the doorstep, and now you're in some thing. UCLA could end up in the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Okay, that is about as bad a result after having a pretty good season as you can have. Yeah. But that being a game away from the national championship Final Four to we're playing, I don't know, Illinois in the Holiday Bowl, that would be a catastrophe.
It would be a catastrophe, and that's what the difference is between being a UCLA football fan and a USC football fan.
When did you start becoming an SC fan?
I'm not an SC fan.
You know, I feel
Holiday
like
Bowl,
you're.
brother.
I feel like now you're.
Don't even
with
put that
USC.
juju on me.
Why
That's
would he do
gross.
that?
I just want look.
been with
I
UCLA
believe
this
in the
entire
brand.
time.
I believe in the brand as much as Travis is talking about it. I believe in a brand of a team, and the brand of USC football is excellence and winning championships.
Yeah.
Not getting that championship. When you talk about baseball, baseball doesn't equate because it's so crazy when you get to the playoffs. If it's basketball, if the Lakers were out for 5 years and then they're in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, you're disappointed. You're
Not if
upset
they
they
were
didn't make
bad
it.
for 5 years.
And they're the
disagree.
Lakers.
Yeah.
They're
I
the
disagree.
Lakers, and you have that
Okay,
great team.
Can I?
If they would have lost to Denver,
let's use this year as an example for the Lakers. They get in the playoffs and they win a couple rounds, and they're the Los Angeles Lakers with 17 championships. You think Laker fans are going to be upset that they lost a couple rounds into the playoffs?
I mean,
don't
not
think
at
they
the
would be.
beginning of the season. USC was 1 play away from being an undefeated team right now. Look, I just think that
That part is interesting when you go back to the everything is in your hands today.
right.
You don't have to pay attention to what it was 8-9 months ago.
Nope.
You could just look at it today.
Season by season in college football.
I'm with you.
That
Slick.
part of it is interesting when you present it that way, but I still think you get to that Rose Bowl. It's a damn good season.
All right, the Lakers are looking to make it 4 in a row, Slee. Did you hear what I said? 4 in a row, and the Suns are good, and they got a big man, and LeBron's not playing. It's AD's time to do AD things. That's next. It's Travis and Slee, 710 ESPN.
All right, stream live sports and original content with ESPN Plus today. You get access to the award-winning 30 for 30 library, unrivaled UFC access, including exclusive paper.
Hey, Rams fans, Travis Rogers here. You have got to get the new ESPNLA app. In fact, let's go down to the locker room and get a little help.
What's up, Rams fans? This is Matthew Stafford. React to the Rams on the new ESPN LA app.
This is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Listen to all your Rams talk on the ESPN LA app.
You are just one tap away from Rams All Access. Travis and Slee, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. Download it now on the App Store or Google Play.
is the show that begins 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long. Each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
By the way, we're streaming live on YouTube, so go to our ESPNLA YouTube page. Get to see myself, see Berg, see a little bit of Taylor, see the birthday dude in T-Raj.
Birthday boy.
Berg, let's take this call real quick.
Okay.
Tony in L.A. Tony, what's your take on this, on USC and these last couple of games and potentially making that college football championship?
Before the season started, saying that USC would win or make the Pac-10 a championship, that's great and dandy. At this particular point in time, USC fans don't give a darn about a Rose Bowl, period.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Tony.
Let me throw this out there. When USC sends out their game notes, right? When I did SC pregame for a couple of seasons, you get game notes every week. And at the top of the game, it says USC plays, take a pick, Colorado. Doesn't matter who they're playing.
Yep.
Game time kickoff, this TV network, this radio station, blah, 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 blah. Home of 200 All-Americans, 6 national championships, 7 Heisman Trophy winners, and 22 Rose Bowl appearances. That's what's on the top line. You tell me they don't care?
I think it's different. It's different.
Why?
Because the Rose Bowl was a huge game. That was a big bowl for the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 at the time. That's not a thing anymore. Now it's all about the college football playoff. Before it was the BCS championship.
Yes.
Now it's not the BCS championship. It's
Yes.
the college football playoff where there's only 4 teams. Now that is what matters now. Since the BCS started, the actual Rose Bowl game lost some of its luster.
I don't disagree that it is not what it was prior to maybe the mid-2000s. I don't disagree with you that it is less than it used to be, but it's still a huge deal. If it used to be an A triple plus, it's an A right now. It's not the equivalent of the Holiday Bowl or the Peach Bowl or some of these other things. I agree. It's not the Final Four. It's not being in the Final Four. There is a tier down from that, but it is still, if you are a Pac-12 school, if you are a Big Ten school, playing in the Rose Bowl is a very big deal.
Can we say this? It's the perfect example of sometimes we just get greedy, right? If I'd have told you a couple weeks ago that USC's got a good shot to go play Michigan in the Rose Bowl, I think there have been a lot of SC fans that say, okay, that's interesting. Sign me up for that. But as you win a couple more games, as you put yourself in a position like they have, they'll probably be number 5 by tonight. You get greedy, and that's okay to get greedy. It's just putting it in perspective. I think that's the only thing Travis and I are talking about is just put USC in perspective of where they were 15 minutes ago and where they're sitting today. And here's what it does come down to is they do have it in their hands. And they are in a position right now to beat a tough Notre Dame team and a tough Oregon team if that's how it lays out to make it to that college football championship. But I still go back to you got 2 losses on the year and you're in the Rose Bowl. It's a damn good season.
Can I equate it to something? So I want to equate it to UCLA basketball. So when UCLA basketball, if they don't make it to the Final Four, even if they make it to Elite Eight, I'm excited they made it to Elite Eight, but then I'm upset because they didn't make it to the Final Four.
I hear
think
you.
They were terrible for a long time, and when they made it back to the Final Four 2 years ago, it was great. But if they would have lost going into the Final Four, or even last year where they didn't make it back to the Final Four, I'm disappointed now.
I hear you
because of my brand in college basketball.
You're not wrong, but it's not the perfect comparison because there is a format where the tournament starts to whittle itself down. In college football, there isn't a tournament like that. There's just 4 spots. That's a different conversation.
Of course.
Yeah. But you're right, but this is different. There is this thing that's outside of that Final Four that is a big deal. That if you took, for instance, if the college basketball tournament where we're going to take 4 teams, but we're also going to have this one other game that nobody competes against. It's on TV by itself. It's been there for 100 years, and we're going to take the 4th or the 3rd best team and the 7th best team or whatever it is on any given year, and we're going to play that. It is a big deal. The basketball doesn't work because you go from, now with 1,000 down to 4 at one point, but you don't start with 4 like you do in football.
Sure. I mean, I get what the difference is. I just think there's a standard of excellence for these specific schools. UCLA was great back in the 60s and 70s under John Wooden, when they went 10 out of 12 years. And then they have 11 championships.
Sam Gilbert.
We don't need to talk about that. That's a different. Why are you trying to change the conversation?
Well, you just left out the most important part.
No, that's not the most important part. They won the championships. They won the games. Oh, it's the same thing as bringing in Caleb Williams. All right.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's my point.
So fine, it is.
Yeah.
But there's a standard of excellence if you're this team. When you have this brand of UCLA, of the brand in college basketball, and this USC brand in college football, you have it's really about championship or bust every single time you're out on the floor. If UCLA doesn't make it to a championship, I'm disappointed in the season because they should be that good. If USC doesn't make it to the championship, I'm disappointed as an SC fan because they should be that good. Making it to a Rose Bowl is like making it to the Elite Eight.
Expectations.
It's really not. The expectations are
expectations. Yes, but
yes.
But you cannot be blind on your expectations, because there are certain times those expectations, you might say, well, let me throw the Patriots. I'm not even going to use the Patriots. The Lakers should be in the finals every single year.
There isn't a comparison.
There has to be context to it. There has to be context.
There does need to be context. I agree with you. But they're trying to find
the
right
have
comparison
the team,
for this is not the. College football has such a small playoff field where there's only 4 teams that if you are just on the edge of that, and the thing that is just on the edge of that is as prestigious of an event as the Rose Bowl is, if this were the college football playoff, let's play this out. College football playoff, instead of having 4 teams, had 12, okay? And the Rose Bowl weren't a part of it, and then you're in the Rose Bowl, it's like, all right, that's, I think, your Elite Eight argument, where we're in it, but we're not really in it. We're off to the side. It's still such a small group. I think it's a very
SC could shut everybody up, beat Notre Dame, beat Oregon, end up in the college football championship.
You don't do that, do you? Because neither do I.
I think there's an L. I think there's an L in those two.
I think they're both L's.
By the way, not totally off the probability board. I think it's probably the Pac-12. I think they'll beat SC. It's at home. It's at the Coliseum.
They'll beat Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Notre Dame. Yeah, the Pac-12 championship's in Vegas, yes?
Yep.
Yeah, neutral site, weird. Oregon fans travel.
Yeah,
SC
no,
fans
that's
travel
a real game.
Oregon scores on every
game.
single possession.
Oregon's really, so does SC.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
Yeah. So here's the thing: USC's defense kind of sucks, right? They give up a ton of points.
Yeah,
they have, I believe, the second most yards per play against in the entire country.
But
they have a plus 20 turnover margin. It's number 1 in the country.
That's how they beat UCLA.
They have 6 games this season with 2 or more turnovers. That's a really big deal. You can give up a bunch of touchdowns if every once in a while I just take it away from you.
And they're probably going to score any time that they do get a takeaway on you.
Super likely.
No, that's a huge stat. I know we don't probably pay too close attention to it, but they lost against UCLA, or they beat UCLA because they had 3 turnovers.
Well, if UCLA had 4, SC only had 1.
Or I'm sorry, they had 4 turnovers.
Plus 3 differential along the way. And Caleb, you know how many interceptions Caleb Williams has thrown this season?
How many?
The whole season.
How many?
3. He's thrown 3 picks all year long. They've only lost 1. They've only lost 4 turnovers all season long. And by the way, with all those plays they're running, they have an incredible offense. They don't turn it over. Their defense isn't great, but they get takeaways. And I still think they're going to lose to Oregon.
You know, when UCLA scored off the interception from Caleb Williams, that was the first time that any team had gotten points off of a turnover against SC this year.
No, their defense is opportunistic, I believe is the word.
You brought up UCLA. What's going on with the Bruins of basketball?
They just lost 2 in a row.
Lost a
couple
teams
in
that
they should have won. It's the same thing as their football team.
Listen.
You guys just
good enough to be there.
College basketball doesn't matter at all.
San Diego State's in at 4-0. Took care of Ohio State yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And they're in the Maui Invitational.
You know what you're describing, both of you guys? You're 2 losses in a row. You're 4
you're
wins
100%
in a row.
right. It means
nothing. It's our picks until the playoffs, right? It's like, yeah, cool, but you know that this is the only part that matters. As long as you're into the tournament.
And everyone gets in.
Exactly. No, I let me know when they start playing games where if you lose, the season is over. When we got another 3 months before that happens.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly mean anything right now.
How about this one? This is good advice right here. Hold on, where'd it go? Somebody was giving me some advice when I get in that position that I was in last night where I would like to leave, but my wife will not let me leave. Here it is. Send Susan a text discreetly that says, hey, they're asking us to leave right now, and never bring it up otherwise. It works 75% of the time. The other 25% is when they blatantly ignore us.
I was just going to say.
I'd take 3 out of 4.
No, but I could see Susan just having such a good time. She's not going to go look at her phone.
Exactly. She's not picking up her phone. That's
I
rude.
look at my phone. You look at your phone. I mean, especially
not to in those moments.
if you're bored or not even bored,
I
but
wasn't
you're
bored. I
but
was
you're
having a
ready
nice
for the
time.
night to end.
Yes.
I'm going to be looking at my phone.
Should have faked a phone call.
Susan was not looking.
Not at all.
Is there anything more uncomfortable than having your phone buzz in your pocket when you're in the middle of a conversation with somebody? Like, oh my God, I want to answer it so bad.
So last night, the eliminator pool.
I just want to look at it.
Right? So if
Just an
Arizona
ESPN alert.
would have beaten San Francisco last night, I
Oh,
win
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
pool.
yeah.
And we get there, and the game is it was at halftime about when we got there, right? And the Arizona was behind, but it was still a game. It hadn't got blown open yet. All of a sudden, about half an hour, 45 minutes later, my phone starts blowing up in my pocket like you guys are. And I'm like, this could actually be pretty good news. And I didn't look because it's rude.
Yeah.
So I and then I finally get in the car and I take a peek, and they lost by 9 touchdowns.
Well, it's funny. You said your phone buzzing. Were people trying to tell you what was going on?
It was nonsense. It was just
okay.
friends.
Because I was going to say, I would not want to tell you, hey, you lost, and it's continuing to go.
I thought it could be good. Hey, Trav, you're going to win this thing. I thought it could have been anybody that knows that this thing's going on saying, dude, you're going to win this whole thing. And I wasn't looking. I looked at my phone. Oh, 74-3. That's a fun game. That's a really good way to do it. Hey, did you see? Coming up next, it's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN.
All right,
710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN.
And it is Travis and Sliwa, and it's time for the segment we do around this time, 10:40 a.m. on Tuesday.
Hey, did you see that sky today?
Did you guys see that?
Basically, the days we don't do Ask Slee, we do this thing. It's called Hey, Did You See?
Did you see that? I saw it. I did it.
Did you see the memo about this?
I mean, I'm excited. You can tell by my read. Hey, did you see?
Live coming up for anybody?
It's time for Hey, Did You See?
Hey, man, did you touch my drum set?
Have you read this?
Right now on Travis and Sliwa.
Taylor, can you send me the Lindsay Lohan happy ringtone on my phone for every November 22nd?
And his alarm clock?
Great idea.
Hey, good morning, Travis.
You're right. Nobody calls anybody anymore.
Lindsay.
She has a very sultry voice.
I'm going to set an alarm every 15 minutes.
How would Susan feel about that?
She knows my deal.
Laundry's ready. Alarm's on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, Linz.
Happy birthday,
Travis.
Happy birthday to you.
I can feel it from her heart. She's singing it directly to me.
That's funny.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay, guys, did you see that according to the UN, as of November 15th, the world's population has reached 8 billion? So let's say in the near future there are so many people on Earth that world leaders start creating cities on different planets and uninhabited areas of the Earth like Antarctica. Would you rather live on Mars or in Antarctica? Antarctica. Can't even say it. Sleeve.
Mars. Listen, it's not like I have all the knowledge here of what that life's going to be like, but damn is it cold in Antarctica.
Not for long.
So dark.
And about, Travis, like in 4 years, it will be
The ice caps
beachside.
are melting.
It's Hawaii. It's basically Hawaii. I will take my chances on Mars. Let's do that. That's where I'm going.
That is exactly why I choose Antarctica. You made me not be able to say it either, Taylor. Yeah, it's going to be like Palm Springs. and it'll be wonderful. It'll be nice.
Palm trees everywhere.
Look, think about all that lush grass growing in once the ice all melts off. And yeah, I'll go to
80
Antarctica.
degrees.
Look, that's going to be the place we're all going to have to be. It's going to be the only place that's inhabitable before too long. You can go with Musk to Mars.
Berg, I don't know if you know this about T-Raj, but you start going weather, get out of that conversation, man. You're going to be scared all
like the
night.
live
It's
forever
100
combo
degrees.
yesterday.
It's 100 degrees on Christmas now. That seems abnormal to me.
Look, if Antarctica loses all of its snow, we're done. There's no Earth left. So that's not a thing.
Me and the penguins.
The problem is with this question is like you're dead on both places. You're going to die on Mars. You're going to die in Antarctica from the cold. I mean, I think you can't. So I think you have a better chance of living on Antarctica. So I'm going to go there even with the freezingness.
Couldn't you farm potatoes in your poop like Matt Damon did in The Martian?
Do I look like Matt Damon to you?
I believe that's how he made farm potatoes in that movie. I'm going to keep a copy of that on my laptop in case.
Yeah,
it comes
in this
up.
hypothetical,
He made hash browns.
You can live. It's inhabitable on both.
Yeah,
places.
the world leaders have made these cities in different places, so
Send me
you
to
can
Mars.
live there.
You
Send me to
coming?
Mars.
Yeah, come on
I'm
down,
going to
bro.
Mars. Let's
Come
go
on
to
down.
Mars.
Sleep and
long
Berg.
We're going to do a
drive.
podcast.
I want to go see my friends. That's a long commute back to Antarctica.
All Lakers all the time on Mars.
Next
We'll call it
up,
the Eldon Campbell podcast.
It's not a bad pod.
did you see that life expectancy at birth in LA County is reported to be 3.6 years longer than the life expectancy of the average American? So aside from the obvious answer, weather, why do you think living in LA is conducive to a longer life, Travis?
So I could be a wise guy and say something like, because the tacos are good and they make you live a long time.
That's a good answer.
It's not.
Great answer.
It's got to be because the majority of people here are active, right? That this is a very active place because of the weather. You can be active year-round. That there's beaches and mountains and people ride bikes and take runs and go for walks and hikes and everything else, where a lot of other places the weather is so lousy for a chunk of the year
Stay
you can't
indoor.
get outside,
Yeah.
right? I would imagine it's just the level of activity that comes along with living in a place with good weather.
Totally agree with that. Sorry, Slee. Totally agree with that. By the way, you can go surfing at 5 o'clock in the morning and then be done by 7. Go drive up to Big Bear in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and you can go snowboarding after that.
Have you ever done that?
I've never done it. I've always wanted to, but it's a long day, but it's possible.
The longest day,
but it's possible.
My youngest son did it one time, and I tagged along, and it was. It's a long ass.
You were his driver?
So, yeah, the bunch. I don't surf or ski, but a bunch of the dads that do surf and ski took a bunch of the boys, and it's a really long day.
But you can.
I know theoretically you can get there in, air quotes, 2 hours. It's a really long
That's
day.
Cali, right? That's California. I think the other reason, too, is the carbon emissions. I think those are important. I think the smog, I think all that is... It's turning to our advantage. We thought it was against us. Now it's working
It
for
kind of
us.
juices your immune system.
Gets you going. It gets you going a little bit. But that's the answer. The answer is, I think, weather when the weather is good, it makes you want to be outside. And we have good weather almost all the time. So because of that, you're just more active. Simple as that.
Okay. Did you see that women are responsible for 80% of all flowers purchased? So 60% of the time, they're buying it for themselves. What is the male equivalent of flowers as a gift? Sliwa.
NBA League Pass.
Just thinking about you, Al. Here you go. Here's
NBA
my password to the League Pass.
That's the answer I want. First thing off the top of the dome.
NBA League Pass.
It's beer,
You know what
right?
I think it is? I was just going to say, I think it's also food. Like, you just kind of try to find things that makes you happy. And I know food is food, but damn, when you get a good meal or you go to a place that you want to go eat, I don't know what it does for you guys, but it definitely kind of gets your mood a certain way. So the way it is for flowers for them, I know you're going to go beer on this one. I would say food.
Yeah, beer. Like somebody shows up to your house with a 6-pack of beer, that's awesome, right? If you're having a bad day and you string by the store and you're like, I'm just going to grab a 6-pack of beer and go home and watch the game or whatever, that's a really good thing. They like to have the vase of flowers on the table.
Yeah.
And me knowing, Slee, you should have seen my ice game on Saturday night.
Killed it.
Just unbelievable. It's still there. Cooler is still packed with ice and cold beer. Still today, right now. If you walked into my backyard, it's still there.
Ice filled all the way to
all
the
the
top.
way. Had 2 extra bags on the side just for emergencies. But yeah, it's beer. Beer makes everybody happy when you get a 6-pack.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's scotch. Like you come sit down with me and have just bring over. Like, hey, I brought over this Lagavulin. Let's have some scotch. Like, this is the greatest thing ever.
I like how they like flowers, and we love getting drunk and eating.
And League Pass.
And the League Pass. Look, is this Magic Hornets?
Don't get me started on the League Pass. Yesterday, sat down,
LaMelo
threw it
Ball's
on.
back.
Atlanta. Who were the Hawks playing? Hawks and the Cavs. Okay, these 2 good playoff teams in the Eastern Conference. Let's see what we got here, Donovan Mitchell.
Heating that up. Next up, did you see that in Switzerland they have movie theaters with beds in them?
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is old news if you guys have talked about it already or not, but I want to know if you'd be down to go to a theater and catch a movie this way, Trav.
No, I'm good. Like it's weird. I don't even like to lay down on my couch if there are people in the house, right? Like if people come over and, typically if it's just me and my family, there's a corner of the couch that's facing the TV that I'll kind of lay back on and have my feet up on the couch and enjoy watching whatever's on the TV. The second somebody comes in here, Fernando's very likely. Yeah. The second somebody comes over, you put your feet on the ground, you make room for them. I don't want to be laying down near strangers. That sounds really deeply uncomfortable. I don't want to do that.
I would have agreed with him up until about a couple months ago. I go see a movie at the IPIC Theater. So IPIC Theater is the seats that kind of go back.
Recliners?
Yeah, the recliners. But we got there, I think I may have told you this story, Trav, where we sat initially was like the back row. And the back row, there's a lot of traffic going on. People asking, hey, can I get you another glass of wine? This, people walking in front of you, all that. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I feel like I'm on the 405 freeway trying to watch a movie. So I tell my girl, I'm like, we're going to go all the way up to the front. I did not know all the seats all the way. I just didn't want distractions. I had all these distractions in front of me. I go all the way up to the front, and these are not chairs. It's basically, because you're so close to the screen, it's basically like a bed. She hated it.
I bet she
I'm like,
did.
this is the greatest thing
You
ever.
You really liked it?
I liked it.
You didn't feel like
it.
you were staring up into the sky?
No, I felt incredibly comfortable, like I was sitting in my own bed at home.
Could you pull up the armrest in between you guys? That's the hack, if you want.
I don't even think there was.
Oh.
I think because we're laying like this, we just get intimate there.
Ah.
Yeah.
Your front row at the movie theater guy tracks.
It really does, doesn't it?
It really does.
It fully does.
They only have
You're
like
poor
20
Nat.
seats there. I'm not going to sit where there's 405 traffic in front of me. Take me up to the front.
Yell at him. Sit down. Down in front. Like, I can't imagine. The front seat of the movie theater is a non-starter. I'm leaving. We're out of here.
But
I'd
it
rather not
was
see
it
the
was a
movie.
little different because it was IPIC. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I like the recliner, like at the AMC and on Universal City. I like how it reclines; it's comfortable. I don't want to be fully back on a bed. I just not something that I enjoy.
Blankets.
However, I'm different than you, Trav. If somebody come over to my house, I'm laying on the couch.
Really?
Like I have a really big couch with like the chase lounges in the middle,
Yeah.
so like everybody can lay down.
I'm with you on. I'm more with you on that one.
It feels.
I want to be comfortable.
Like,
I don't care about any of that.
I feel vulnerable. I feel like you
Take your socks off.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm vulnerable.
Oh no shoes or socks in this house.
See Berg just saying, you know what, guys, I'm gonna go take a shower. Keeps the shower door open.
Yeah,
I mean, if I need
don't
to,
know.
what's
I
the
don't know.
problem here?
Keeps everything open.
I feel like I'm vulnerable to attacks if I'm laying down with my shoes off.
Who's
like,
coming to attack
I don't know,
you?
but better safe than sorry.
Vulnerable to attack.
Trav just booked us a iPick movie coming up this weekend.
row.
Yep, you and I are laying on that same bed together.
Why not? Why not? Let's do it. All right. Aaron Judge is in San Francisco and reportedly is going to meet with the Giants later on today. What does that mean for the Dodgers? Why? And Slee, why do I like this as much as I do? That's coming up next. Travis Slee, 710 ESPN.
This
To Sweet Tea Travis Rogers. Travis and Sliwa continues your Tuesday right now.
Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like
That old? I'm in the prime of my life, Slee. Other than physically and mentally. Everything else is just exactly where it needs to be.
I love the way you just described that. I'm in the prime of my life, except mentally and physically.
Right.
You don't need anything after
No.
mental and physical.
I'm perfect. Everything is coming up Travis along the way. Yates is on the phone, you said,
Yep,
Greg?
Yates is on the line.
What's up, Clinton? What are you doing this morning?
Happy birthday, buddy. How are you?
Thank you, my friend. I am fantastic. I'm celebrating my birthday with Al and Taylor and Bergman and now you. What more could I ask for?
Well, I have a question for you about this because, as you know, I'm kind of a weird process person, and I didn't know your birthday was this close to Turkey Day.
Yes.
And what I was going to ask you is, growing up, what was that like in terms of, like, the social method? Did you, like, invite people for a birthday party? Was it, like, lumped in with Thanksgiving? I know people who have birthdays around, like, Christmas. It's always kind of weird, so I was curious.
So, my birthday actually falls on Thanksgiving. Like every 7 years, it will land on the actual day itself. Which at the time, as a little kid, you don't love it because of all the reasons that you just mentioned, that you kind of feel like it's getting marginalized or whatever. But as you get a little bit older, it actually works in your benefit because now the aunts and uncles and everybody that's around for Thanksgiving feels obligated to throw you a little birthday something along the way. So you get that bottle of wine or you get that sweatshirt or whatever it is you've had your eyes on. It works out as an older man for sure.
That's excellent. That's all I wanted to know because I was curious. I was like, hey, that seems like a tricky one to track. And last thing I was going to say is I went to the movie theater to see Wakanda Forever, and I almost found myself in a front row seat situation. I then proceeded, Slee, to go to the back and quasi-intimidate two people out of their seats so I could sit next to my sister. That's how much I was not concerned.
Hey, by the way, good
row.
movie, Clint. I saw it about a week ago. Great movie.
Great movie. Anyway, that's all I had. Happy day to you, Roger, and hope you guys have a great trip rest of the show.
Have a good Thanksgiving, Clint.
Yeah, see, you're never going to have trouble getting a seat at the movie theater because you're the only one that's like, let's just go sit up front. Like, plenty. There's a reason they're always open. Like, when you go online to order your seat, and I don't know. Like,
okay, which one would you rather have? The one that I'm
whatever's
describing.
not the front row.
Just let me finish describing it. Would you rather have all these people walking in front of you? You know, I picked the one where you got the menu too, so they keep coming back. Oh, that's why I want some fries, and there's that. Like there's a whole pitch going on. I'm like, I feel like I'm buying a timeshare sometimes. Would you rather have that or just the peace and quiet, but your neck's got to be up a little bit?
I would not see a movie sitting in the front row. It's simple as that. Because the traffic, you're not wrong about it, but it does die down as the movie goes on a little bit longer. At the beginning, it's that
picked up where I was.
Flurry of activity at the beginning because everybody wants their cocktail and their wings or whatever it is they're getting. But usually by the time you're half hour into the movie, it's kind of calmed down a little bit. You liked Wakanda Forever?
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's
Did you guys see
so
it?
good.
Really good.
Really, really good.
Yeah, really good.
than
It's long.
Black
It's
Panther?
probably 2 hours and 40, something like that. 2:45. It's long.
Really
it's long.
But it didn't feel long.
Yeah. It felt like 2:35.
Like, I never looked at my watch. I never thought, like,
that's
I need
what
this
I was
to
going
end.
to ask. Was there at any point?
Right.
Do you like the Marvel movies in general, though, Slee?
Okay, wait. First, let me say it was a really good movie. So I don't want to make it sound like I would recommend the movie. Go see it. But anything that's that long, it's impossible for me not to look. Like, I also want to know what's happening in the world. I don't know. I feel like I would like to see what's happening.
Need a LeBron update?
But I did not look. He's out tonight. I did not
Odds are
look.
strong that will be true later on too.
I did not look because I didn't like the movie. Movie was good. Movie was really good.
By definition, maybe you're just. Movie should be like an hour 45, 2 hours tops.
Look,
that's how long a movie should
totally agree with you. But this one, there was enough going on and there was enough storyline that it kept me interested the whole
good
time.
Movie.
So I didn't have to think to myself, oh, is this going to end soon?
I'm not kidding, and I should.
It's
probably,
based on a true story.
I should probably be more flexible. When you told me 2:40, I'm out. Like I am. I didn't. Like I was.
But you liked the first one.
I did very much.
That one was probably close.
Was it that long?
I don't know how long.
Yeah,
the
okay,
first
it
one
didn't feel that long, so maybe I'll reconsider. But that two.
I think it was 2:45.
Why not just make it an even
the first
3?
One was 2:15.
Just make it an even 3.
First one was 2:15. Another half hour.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's like another half an hour of a movie. How many times have you watched a movie and it ends? You go, really could have used 30 more minutes of that. Not very often.
Do you guys ever watch movies in chunks at home?
You mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just do that.
I don't really do that.
Only movies I haven't seen. I mean, I have seen before. Like, I can't watch the movie for the first time and watch it in chunks.
You can watch the first hour of a movie and say, okay, I like this, but I got to go do something else or go to bed and then flip it on the next day.
That's why all these Netflix where it's like 4 episodes or whatever, it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Catch an episode and then you take
but
off.
The episodes are usually about an hour.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a bad way to do it.
What was the Scorsese movie that was really, really long?
The Irishman.
I watched in chunks because it was way too long and terrible.
And awful.
Yeah.
Like, Al, you're the mob movie guy. Did you ever watch that one?
Irishman, yeah, I did.
Did you like it?
No.
Oh,
I didn't really. Yeah,
brutal.
And the problem is
5 weeks long.
Everybody kind of kept saying coming into it wasn't good, so I think it was already in my head, and then I got to see it for myself that it wasn't that good.
Somebody else wants to throw cigars in there, as when the question about flowers and beers and what cigars, definitely not a bad way to do that.
Jojo Shabadoo Jr. says, Slee wanting to sit in the front tells me he pours his milk in the bowl first before the cereal.
No, cereal's got to go first.
Nobody pours the milk first, too. That's like they should be locked up if you do that.
My daughter does it, and
Why?
it drives me insane. I think
that.
she just doesn't want it because I tell her to do it the other way. I think she just doesn't want to. She wants to be the opposite.
She's going to eventually learn that it's critical.
To a good
critical.
life. Doesn't make sense.
You got to pour the cereal first, and then you figure out how much milk you need, and you probably always put a little bit too much milk, but then you come back afterwards and you put a little more cereal in there.
That's crazy talk.
Very
C-Note
simple.
1000 writes, if the Rose Bowl didn't mean anything, Clay Helton would have never gotten an extension when they beat Penn State. I think that's a really good point. Right, this is in the era of the playoff that SC won the Rose Bowl because Sam Darnold was amazing.
Yep.
They extended Clay Helton and bought themselves 3 more years of dreadful football because, hey, Clay Helton won the Rose Bowl. If that's the Holiday Bowl, if that's the Alamo Bowl, they're not extending him like that.
But wasn't that Lynn Swann at the time? I mean, that was a whole terrible decision making.
I'm not saying it wasn't a terrible decision.
The biggest thing that was a problem with SC at that time is that they didn't care enough about they didn't make it to the college football playoff under Clay Helton. That was a huge deal.
No,
Whether he got the extension, that's not on Clay Helton. That's on the
No, I'm not saying it's on Clay
ridiculousness of
Helton,
AD.
But
He's
what
saying
I'm
there's
is
value to winning
the
it.
university at the time put value on the Rose Bowl to the point where they had a bum as a head coach and they extended him because he won something that they had felt had value.
Yeah, I don't think they have that same value. Mike Bone doesn't have that same value, I don't feel like.
Maybe not, but I think SC fans do. I really do. That's a big one. Let's talk a little bit about AD, Slee.
Yeah.
Tonight, they've got the Suns. They've won 3 in a row. AD's been not good. He's been great for the last 3 games. Just not just pedestrian, good numbers, but impactful, big numbers. Yes, against bad teams. Yes, they're not missing some of their players and big men like you've talked about. This is no LeBron tonight against the Suns. It's an opportunity for him to do what he's been doing against a good team, and I think really start to get some momentum for Laker fans feeling like, hey, is Anthony Davis back to being Anthony Davis?
There's a lot of curiosity. I mean, even if you put AD to the side, Trav, you dig yourself a 2-10 record. It doesn't really matter how you win. Just go get wins. They did that. They won 3 games in a row, games that they should have probably won, at least definitely against the Pistons in San Antonio. I don't want to sound dramatic here. I'm really looking forward to tonight's game because I'm curious if there's something here or there isn't. And it's not just the AD piece; it's just the Lakers in general. Lakers have played. But
isn't it mostly AD, Al? I don't mean to dismiss the other guys.
I'll tell you why.
That's the reason they feel intriguing to me is because he kind of looks like that guy we were hoping he was going to look like all of a sudden. I get why, but he hasn't even been doing it against bad teams. At least now he's doing it against the bad teams.
Let me play this. Let me play this your way. He puts up 35 and 15 tonight.
Sure,
but the Lakers lose by 15.
Okay.
You can feel a certain way about Anthony Davis, but overall for the team, you're going to say to yourself, well, yeah, what they did against those teams, that just ain't the Phoenix Suns. Well, I'll play another scenario way. He puts up 28 and 10. It's not a monster game. It's just a really good game, and Lakers are in it against the Suns in the fourth quarter, a few minutes left to go. That's my curiosity. My curiosity is...
Which of those two is more exciting for you, those two outcomes?
You're in the game.
Really?
Yeah, that you're in the game.
Huh, not me. I
28 and 10 is a good stat
it's a
line.
great 9. It's a great night. Don't get me wrong there. But I'm saying if he goes out there against DeAndre Ayton, against the Suns, against a good team, and he just is killing guys, even if the team doesn't win because the supporting cast isn't quite enough to get that done. Because, look, this season is going nowhere. I'm not going to pretend that it is. But what happens after this is really intriguing to me. And if he's trending, if that stock starts to tick up again a little bit, it's the first time we've seen it in a while. If he does it against a good team, that's going to...
Do you know the last time that stock was up against the Suns in the playoffs 2+ years ago? Right? I mean, that's how long it's been. They go in that playoff up 2-1 in a series. AD gets injured. And since that moment, a couple of years back, the franchise has just gone down like this. I have... When you win 3 games in a row and you're the Lakers and you only have 5 wins on the season, when you have Anthony Davis put up the numbers that he's put up these last 3 games and kind of surprise people, turn a little head, not really sure what AD's doing, but he's putting up some monster numbers. And then you get a matchup against the Phoenix Suns, one of the better teams in the Western Conference. You get a matchup against a good center in DeAndre Ayton. You get a matchup against Devin Booker. And it's on the road. I have some curiosity tonight. I'd hate to be disappointed walking tomorrow. Lakers lose by 15. AD had 22 and 9, and it wasn't that impactful.
That's the worst outcome.
That'd be the worst outcome.
That's the worst outcome. They're not in the game, and he's
because then you would
absent.
say, okay, so they won the 3 simply because of their competition.
That last one you just described is the worst outcome, where he's just kind of out there and he gets numbers because it's an NBA game and somebody's got to get him right. Even if they're going to score 100 points tonight. Somebody's got to put up a good chunk of those. But if you're never in the game, that's the worst outcome. In the game and playing well, great. But even just kind of quasi in the game, say you're behind by 12 or 15, but he's just killing it, I'm super into that all of a sudden because he could be what we've been hoping for. I'm curious what Laker fans think about it. When do you start to buy the new, air quote, AD, the guy that killed these last 3 teams, maybe goes in and does it in the Suns? When do you start to say, hey, listen, maybe he's healthy. Maybe he needed a clear path. Maybe
he's the focal point.
He's the focal
There's
point.
nobody else
For
that you
sure.
go to first other than Anthony Davis.
When do you start to buy that? When do you start to believe that is a sustainable thing going forward? And you can start to build around that because, quite frankly, that's exciting. It really is.
I think there just has to be some context of when these points happen and when all the numbers behind the stats. I think it matters when they happen.
You know it when you see it, though, right?
Sure, but like if you see it all in the first half, you're like, okay, this is the same AD we've had for the last 3 games. But if he disappears like he has
For sure.
lot of the season in the second half and especially the fourth quarter,
that's the
then I
worst
think
case scenario.
that's the worst case.
For sure.
And that's what's happened. So I think that's what you're referring to, right?
That's what's been going on most of the season and a lot of his career, especially. But in the fourth quarter, he kind of fades away a little bit.
Was it the last game? I can't remember. He took 21 free throws in one of these last couple of games.
Say that again.
Because he's in the paint and he's banging against guys.
Remember we had 3 games in a row where I think over 3 games he had taken 4 shots total in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the hell is this guy? You're not even – go 0 for 30. Nobody cares if you just be the player that is give me the damn ball and let me go to work.
Bad news, Al. Team France down 1-0 to the Australians right now in the 13th minute of the World Cup.
Wow.
Your French team is behind a goal early. Lots of time left, but they are down.
France.
Did you know
Saudi Arabia?
Did you know that
2 teams
in the World Cup, the team that won the prior World Cup has never gotten out of the group stage?
Really? Who won the last one? Brazil?
France.
France
won in 2018. And no team has ever gotten out of the group stage after winning the World Cup.
Could use that information a couple days ago. Doesn't that just kill you sometimes where, like, we'll do our picks, and Emily will say, the Kansas City Chiefs, she'll get some from ESPN Stats and Info after I already made my pick. I'm like, Em, you want to tell me that before I made the pick?
You got to call her before and say, is there anything I need to know about what's going on? All right, Aaron Judge is in San Francisco, and as a Dodger fan, believe it or not,
On 710 ESPN.
All right, help me out here, fellas. We're going to do our picks against the spread about an hour from right now. That's coming up in a little bit. But I have a pick to make prior to that. Arizona did not come through for me.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the other two have been reluctant to split the entire season, would continue to not want to split.
And keep going.
I'm assuming, is it as easy as this? Houston is in Miami. I have not picked Miami this year. There are games are New England at Minnesota. I could take Minnesota. Tampa Bay at Cleveland. I could theoretically take Tampa Bay and San Diego, or the Chargers.
Yep.
The Chargers at Arizona. Arizona's pretty dreadful. Arizona's basically only beat the Rams, and they can't beat anybody else.
You're at this stage, this late in the game. You got to take the obvious one. Can't get cute. Got to take Miami.
Yeah, never, ever. I don't know what they're going to do. Every week, a really bad team, or they could beat a really good team.
Yeah.
I would never touch the Chargers. Miami's the right choice.
I disagree, and Miami's. But after this week, and if I get through this week, it's far from a guarantee.
You're kind of screwed.
I'm the only other air quote good team I have Tennessee and Minnesota left, but they're playing against other teams that are not terrible. I'm kind of at the end of the line. It's
so are they.
Probably,
yeah.
Right?
They
I've
had to
gotten
have
lucky.
used a lot of these.
We've all used, I'm assuming, everybody's used the Eagles and the Cowboys and all these. I still haven't used the 49ers, by the way. Did you get to watch a good chunk of that last night?
I did.
Are they the best? I think they're the best team, right, in the NFC? With McCaffrey, they look totally different.
Yeah, they got real legitimate weapons on offense that can go anytime. Real weapons. Real weapons. And that's and I pointed out because you and I were talking about this before the show started. There's certain teams, where are you at in your window? The Niners are in a window today. Remember the trade deadline was coming up, and what did the Rams were a pick short again?
They didn't
Christian
have
McCaffrey.
that fourth rounder that they wanted.
Can you imagine if they gave up those picks for Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
What would that have changed for the Rams?
McCaffrey would be hurt by now.
What would that have changed?
Nothing.
The Niners, other
than taking more draft picks off the table.
The Niners, on the other hand, they're in their window. And this is the time to go make that move. And that does complement other great weapons that they have. And it does make Garoppolo look better than he probably is. So
Garoppolo's making himself some money right now,
he
by the way.
Yeah, he is.
Because Trey Lance was supposed to be the guy. He gets hurt, week 2? I want to say what it was. And now, am I the only person on earth? I understand that Jimmy Garoppolo is not Joe Montana. He's not Steve Young. I understand. He doesn't suck. Am I crazy?
No, you're not.
When I watch him play, he's incredibly efficient on third down. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, and he makes plays.
So you know what he has to be? He just has to be on. He's got to be on a squad where everything is kind of you're not depending on him.
Is he Jared Goff, only better looking? Right? That get all the pieces.
Okay, let me ask you. You're in a playoff game. You want Goff or Garoppolo?
Garoppolo.
I do too.
Yeah. But what you're describing, those same, like, look, give him a running back, give him 2 wide receiver
give
weapons,
him a great head coach, give him a system,
give him all of these things.
Good GM,
give him a good defense that can get back off the field again, give him the ball back along the way. You need
a lot of things. I mean, there's certain franchises where it's just give the ball to the quarterback. He's going to go get you W's. That won't be Garoppolo, but he's in a position to succeed.
I think if the tournament started today in the NFC, I think I'm picking them. I think I'm picking the Niners because Shanahan's been through it before.
Yeah.
Jimmy G's been through it before.
Yeah.
These guys they're not kids. Like they're not old, but they're not first timers.
No, they were. How close were they last season to get to the Super Bowl?
A Jaquaski Tart drop away from probably going to the Super Bowl. That's how close they were, and they're right back there all over again. Let's try a phone call here. Let's go to Long Beach and Danny. Danny, you're on with Trav and Slee.
Hey, what's up, fam? Thanks for taking my call. Just want to touch on the AD segment you guys are talking about.
Sure.
What's more important, dub or loss? For me, it doesn't really matter. It's about AD performing well, whether they lose or win. And I'm gonna put this on you guys. I want to get your input, your opinion. I want him to perform well, so when it comes to January, if he's averaging a double-double in January, would you trade him? My answer is yes. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you calling in. I think you got to kind of treat this. This is the way I'm looking at this season. I think you got to treat this. I at least to this point, I've attached Bron and AD together. Okay, so that if you do decide at some point, if by the time they get to January 1st, do you know how many games they have on the road? They have 16 of their next 22 games are on the road.
Oof.
16 of the next 22.
Yeah.
And you're going to be playing. You're going to go on that East Coast trip. You got Giannis and Embiid and this. You'll play some quality teams. If it comes a point this year where it's clear that, hey, guys, this franchise, you got a championship. You won one. Now it's time to let's move on. Let's start rebuilding. What does that rebuilding look like? If Anthony Davis is playing like the AD that we've been seeing in this little window, it's a small window, so I don't want to overreact to it.
Sure.
It's a small window. But if Anthony Davis is a 28 and 12 a game guy, let me just ask you this. Don't you need one of those players, period? Like, don't you, if you have a franchise player who's 29 years old, and the idea with the Lakers is you go build around a franchise player. The problem with Anthony Davis, he has not held up to that.
Right.
So the whole game plan that the Lakers had was Bron is going to be here, maybe you win a championship, but eventually Anthony Davis will be what Giannis is or what Embiid is or what Jokic is. So if he's putting up numbers like this, I see what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, well, go get the most value as you can. I guess you can do that. You can make the decision, let's just completely blow it up. Let's completely start over. That could be a strategy. But what if you have arguably one of the top 7 best players in the NBA? Wouldn't you then just say, well, why don't we build around a player who's 29 years old and can be that foundational piece? Not sold on that, by the way.
Nor am I.
I'm not. So,
but if what Danny described is what happens, if you get to the middle of January and AD is playing like he's played the last 3 games, and he's looked like that a lot
for 25 games,
right? And he looks like that. I don't want to, maybe not every night,
but more times than not. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
More times than not. I think it becomes perfectly obvious what you need to do. It becomes perfectly obvious because to your point. There's not another Anthony Davis. If this version of Anthony, those are not easy to find. Why would you give him away? And I understand that he's injury prone, but if we can get to the point where we can start to feel a little bit better about that, I think it changes the conversation. The conversation is, what do you get for LeBron James? The conversation is, what do we put around Anthony Davis to maximize his ability? That's how it starts to change. Look, I'm a LeBron James fan. I've said it a million times on this show. He's in his 20th season. He's missed 6 of their first 16 games, and he's missed chunks of games for the last couple of seasons. He's not going to play more games in season 21. He's not going to play more games in season 22. If anything, this is either going to stay the same or get worse, right? That's nature, that's time, that's sports. So if I have one of the best players in the league, which Anthony Davis is not today, but under the scenario that he's talking about, maybe he is a month or 2 from now, and he is back in that conversation of, maybe he's not Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic, but he's the next guy on that list.
You could say he's top 10, you don't blink.
Yeah. Then at that point, I'm like, look, this is the guy that I need to think about what I'm going to put around him, as opposed to, hey, let's flip him for something that may or may not come next year or the year after that. When you have a good player that's playing well, use that dude.
Wasn't that always the plan?
Of course, but it felt like the plan burned to the ground.
And it felt like the plan burned to the ground 2 weeks ago. Like, we don't have to look that far. And by the way,
100%
by the way, 2 weeks from today,
100%
we can be having the same conversation.
Yes.
So I think that's why
this is presupposing Danny's hypothesis, which is 2 months of exemplary play. It's still one of those, I'm not quite there, but I'm a lot further along than I am at any other point. I haven't felt, you said it a minute ago, I haven't felt good about Anthony Davis since the playoffs 2 years ago. That was the last time I'm like, dude, he's still that guy, still AD. He's still, get him squared away, get him healthy, get him right. He's the guy that's going to be the best player on this team. He's going to get his number up there. He's going to do all these things. That was the last time we've said it. I'm not ready to go back to it after 3 games, but after 30 games, maybe.
Sure.
After 45 games, maybe. But let's get to 4. Let's see what happens for tonight. Factor Cap, the Taylor Smith edition, coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ES.
Hey, Laker fans, John Ireland here. Have you downloaded the new ESPNLA app? You got to get this thing. It's great. You can get Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, and all of our Lakers talk with Slee right in the palm of your hand.
You're just one tap away from everything Lakers. You could even win Lakers tickets.
React to the Lakers on ESPNLA app.
Download the new ESPNLA app in the App Store or on Google Play.
It is Travis and Sliwa. We're here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it's time for Factor Cap.
Oh, that's cap.
That's so cap, Dad.
Everything I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go back.
First of all, it's not a cap. It's
No, it
just
is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Has anybody checked in on Emily today? Is she hanging in there? I know she was pretty banged up yesterday. Is she doing all right?
Yeah, so I talked to her a little bit this morning. She is not doing too well. She's going to be out tomorrow. Michael Funchess will be in for you.
Get Funch in the house.
Bunch
Slee?
of Funch.
A lot of Funch today. We get Funch tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys got a Laker game tonight.
He'll be sick of me by the time the night is over, and then he's got to deal with me tomorrow.
Send me a text. Let me know how it goes.
100%. No, the whole thing. How about that on Friday?
Okay, get
Travis,
well.
Trav was sending me golf photos on Friday. I was sending him. I was sending him photos of the media room and giving him updates of the Pistons.
I'm standing there. I forget what hole it was. It's this beautiful setting.
Shots,
these mountains. They're like purple mountain majesty.
Google Images or something.
It was perfect outside. I sent him a picture. He sends me a picture of the Laker media room.
Uncrustables and all.
Oh, did you get one?
I did not get one.
Oh, you missed out.
They're so good.
They're the best. What do you got, Taylor?
Well, get well soon, Emily. I'm going to hold down the fort for you today. And some of these are kind of read like a Dear Abby column. So let's go. Here we go. I went to San Pedro Saturday to one of my favorite beaches. It's north of Point Furman. And I like beaches that are harder to get to because they're typically fewer people. So I made my way down this rocky beach, got to jump a fence, climb some stairs, all that. And in Pedro, they have these cement slabs on a lot of the beaches. So I found one that's like tailor-sized, and I'm just chilling on it, make myself comfortable for about like 20 minutes or so. And out of nowhere, this couple and their pug and their kid. They showed up and they plopped down right next to me, and I could hear the pug from a mile away because he's like crying and screaming, and screeching. He can't even breathe.
Those things can barely breathe, right?
You're on his concrete slab,
as it is. And he's walking down this rocky beach like he doesn't look like he's having a good time at all. And the family, they don't care. They don't give a crap. They're there for their family pictures. They want to take the pictures right next to me of all places on this huge stretch of beach.
You to take
I was going to say, did you take the photo for them?
No, I did. They set it up on a rock. I don't know what they were afraid of me or something. But I wanted to say to the dad, hey man, I don't think your dog is having a good time. He looks a little stressed out, but I didn't. I kept my mouth shut. So I should have said something to him. Fact or cap?
Cap for me.
Berg, do you have a dog?
I do. Lola.
Okay.
She's wonderful.
There's certain things that I think are personal, right? Like if I don't know if this is a
not
best
his kid,
example. It's true, but like I'll use a kid as an example. Okay, like to tell somebody, hey, keep an eye on your kids or something like that at a grocery store, which you're probably not wrong. I just don't think I'm going to be the one. I might give them a certain look. We might make some certain eye contact. I might give them body language, but for me to tell you your kid needs to get in the car and keep this thing moving, I'm just not going to be the guy that does it.
Greg?
It's cap. Don't talk to me about my dog. Don't talk to me about my kids. Yeah, do not say anything to those people. They're going to do what they want to do, and if you say anything,
won't say anything to them?
No.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. It's their dog. They're going to do it how they want to do it. Unless you're like physically hurting the animal.
I think that's the line, both for somebody
little guy
else's
was
kid
struggling.
and
I
somebody
felt
else's
anything.
their
my
dog.
heartstrings.
Right? Don't if there's violence involved, you need to intervene, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not making a joke here, but there was the shooting on the freeway yesterday, right? They shut the whole freeway down, and people are out of their minds. And if you criticize their children or you criticize their pet, it's on. I'm not a pet owner, and so but you're right. If somebody said to me in the grocery store, hey, why don't you get a hold of that kid right there, we're going to have a problem, right? It's my kid. I will do what I want with my children. You do what you want with yours. I think I get it. You feel bad that the
I didn't
dog's
say
struggling,
anything.
but no.
For all I know, he would have released the pug on me and would have attacked me.
I like your chances.
Next up, so after I went to the beach, I went to check out a sandwich shop that a listener actually suggested on National Sandwich Day. Shout out to Big E for recommending Busy Bee. So it was my first time there. I went with the hot roast beef and macaroni salad. And my factor cap, macaroni salad is the best deli side. Factor cap.
I'm a potato salad guy. I like macaroni salad a lot, but here's the rub with macaroni salad. There's two things that can go wrong with it. When it's done right, it's terrific. It's terrific, but it has to be, this is going to sound bad, it has to be on the dry side. If you get that really goopy, mayo-y mac salad, it can be really super gross, and sometimes
that's the kind I like.
It can get really sweet too, right? There's a bunch of sugar in it. I don't like that, so I'm not willing to risk it to get the goopy, sweet mac salad. Give me the potatoes. And by the way, did you get a pickle spear with that too?
Pepperoncinis.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm good with macaroni salad. Actually, I'm with you on
like the goopy kind.
Not too goopy. I know what you're saying about if it's not done right.
Yeah.
There's a problem there, but I'm also willing to roll the dice. I'll take my chances on this one.
I mean, you're going to be surprised, but I'm going to agree with Travis on his food take. Potato salad is the best side of all of the sides, and you have to, if you're going to do macaroni, which is really good,
yes,
it has to be done exactly right. Otherwise, it doesn't taste good.
If it makes a noise when you stir it, you have too much mayonnaise in it.
Totally agree.
You know,
totally
and
agree.
You guys all know exactly what I'm talking about. You take that is the worst thing.
That's when I'm like, yes.
Give me a spoon so I can get in the corner of that thing. Ugh.
This one didn't have black olives, too, which I'm usually not a fan of having in macaroni salad. So no black olives, it was perfect.
No olives, period.
Yeah.
I like olives.
You don't need that.
Yeah, I like olives.
Never.
It's a way to eat salt.
Yeah.
Who says no?
Yeah.
Next up.
I'll take your olives.
Put them on my plate. You can be like that guy in Salt Lake City. Mind if I have a bite of that? Sure. We've known each other for 30 seconds. Knock yourself out.
Didn't enjoy a martini because I didn't like the olives.
Get it with a twist.
Yeah, I'll do that instead.
There you go. No wrong way to drink alcohol, Greg.
No, I agree.
Okay, so in the house that I live in, we have had a revolving door of roommates lately. So there's 4 dudes in the house, 3 bathrooms, and I have to share a bathroom with one other guy. So this guy's a college student. He goes to Cal State Dominguez Hills, and he has no hygiene whatsoever. I'll spare you the details, most of them. But
that has to be the worst having a roommate that does not care what everything looks like.
Especially one that you have to share a bathroom with. So, I'll spare you the details, but this guy,
thank you.
He, on the lighter example of things he does, he has shaving cream and his whiskers like all over the sink every morning, and it's like a Neanderthal. I mean, it's everywhere. It doesn't bother me so much, but I'm a guy that I like to have guests over. Sometimes I don't want that
sure
reflecting on me. So old me probably would have sent out a scathing text message in the group or something like that, but I don't have a relationship with this guy. I mean, he doesn't come out of his room, I don't think, for any other reason than to shave, it seems like. So I should blow up the group text. Fact or cap?
You want to go first, Al?
Cap. You should have a conversation with him. I wouldn't do it over a text message. I wouldn't just say, hey, man, can you do me a favor? Just because we share the bathroom, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure this place looks good and looks clean. By the time I leave, it's all you, but please do the same thing. I'm having that conversation.
I like the way you worded that.
But I'm having that conversation. That's not one of those that when you're sharing somebody with somebody, especially the bathroom, you got to keep that thing a certain way. I wouldn't do it. I don't like doing that over text. I'd rather have a conversation with him.
I'm with Al. You got to do it. Just, hey, man, listen, you're leaving your whiskers in the sink. Would you mind washing it off?
I know you're a Neanderthal.
It's not an unreasonable ask. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. So, it's a sink in the bathroom. Shower?
Yep, shower,
toilet.
There's normal bathroom.
The last thing right. So let's say that there's the sink. Let's say there's the shower, and then is the third item in the bathroom a particular problem on a regular basis?
He has difficulty aiming.
Oh yeah, see that's what
Come
I mean.
on. Wait a minute. So he's not cleaning. He's not cleaning that up.
No.
Yeah,
Are you
I was just
serious?
Gonna do the whiskers one for
So if it's the whiskers and the other thing, that's when you got to say, hey, listen, Dave, whatever his name is.
That's not even a nice conversation. That's clean up your freaking stuff.
And your other roommates have their own bathrooms.
Yeah.
Look, we share this bathroom. We both got to do this, man. This is not cool. You need to clean up after yourself.
I was gonna go cap because of everything you guys, but then you told me about the not aiming portion of this.
Look, it
is now fact. You're absolutely are in full right to go into the text.
Let's take the no aiming thing out of it, and it's just what he was describing with the sink. You wouldn't say anything?
No, I don't think at that point I would have knocked on the door and been like, "Hey, man, just gonna clean that up a little bit." But now that there's multiple things happening, there's extra things happening. Everybody needs to know. He needs to be called out. This is it's gone too far. When you're missing aiming, this was it. That was it. What?
Al's doing the thing where he's surprised that there are really terrible, despicable people in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
they always choose to live with me.
And share a bathroom with you, apparently.
But you know how it usually works. Even if you have somebody that is just naturally they don't care, let's say.
Uh-huh.
But when somebody else is doing what, like I've dealt with people before, back in the college days, the dude wasn't a clean person. But he saw that I was keeping my stuff clean, so he'd be like, all right, well, then I got to keep my stuff clean.
But that means that guy that you're describing, he's an okay guy. He realized that it bothered you, but half of the population be like, doesn't bother me. What do you care? And they keep it moving.
I think
half the world are
yeah.
bad guys. Well, that's the thing. Maybe
his mom probably cleaned up for him his whole life. I don't know.
Could be.
He's a college student.
So will you talk to him? Will you talk to him?
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
Hey,
you got to have that conversation.
You've given me the courage, Sliwa. Thank you.
You got to have it.
He said he doesn't come out of his room, though. If he doesn't come out of his room, he can just knock on the door.
Yeah, he does. He comes out of his room to go use the restroom.
You're not outside the bathroom and be like, hey, man.
Catch him when he's about to shave.
You got to find him when there's a moment, too, where it's not super confrontational. Like if you just go up to his door and, hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's got to be one of those, hey, real quick before you leave for work or class or whatever, you mind taking a little wipe and cleaning that thing off?
Berg, what do you want him to do?
No, this is so like
go in like a SWAT team.
Like, be aggressive. This is not okay. This is unacceptable behavior. He's in college.
When he comes out of his bedroom, just swing at him.
No,
don't even say anything. Just swing.
If you do it aggressively, his initial reaction will be to say no.
No, I'm not going to do it.
No, whoa. But
no, he's going to be scared.
No, he won't. He'll
start
be
shaving other stuff.
He might
Your
be scared.
dominance.
He's going to be scared, but he's also going to not do it because he's being confronted. But
he's a big guy.
Berg wants to go to war.
Nobody likes to be threatened. If you just said, listen, man, Dave, would you mind cleaning up the sink? It's kind of gross, and I'd really rather.
Berg's just outside his door.
No,
This guy's my height, and he's got probably 100 pounds on me. So
Ask
two
nicely.
options: you either
Ask
go
nicely.
aggressive or you go fully passive aggressive. and You start pranking him and like doing like things to his stuff, changing out his shaving cream, doing just random things.
I'm trying to not get shot. That's my goal. Good job, Taylor.
Oh, thank you.
Good job.
Nice job.
Good job.
Thanks for doing that, Taylor.
And just put some Lysol disinfectant wipes right next to the sink
Man.
with his name, Dave. Use these after you shave, and maybe he'll pick it up. Slee, good news for you. France 2-1 on the Australians right now. 43rd minute World Cup. Slee's got France in the
Because of
World
Henri
Cup.
in
Because
FIFA 2004.
Well, what was the guy before him? Zinedine Zidane.
Zinedine
Yeah,
Zidane.
they won the World Cup that year too. I want to say.
No, I think they lost in the finals. That was the head. That was when he headbutted, got kicked out of the game. They ended up
lost
losing.
because
They
of
ended
that.
up losing.
Yeah, in my mind they won. So I'm just going to.
Who was he? He was the coach for. Was it Man U or something like that? The guy's a baller. The guy even as a coach was winning. Anyways, well, that's our soccer knowledge.
My God,
That's our soccer knowledge.
This was you just going deep on the Man U coaching staff.
Zinedine
Caught me by surprise. I'm not going to lie.
Zidane was just a freaking man back in the day.
And with the headbutt, him and I'm trying to think. There's another one. Yeah, it escapes me at the moment.
Trying to think as well. All
Aaron Judge, Giants, and I don't hate it. That's next. Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, coverage of the 2020.
Do you do the thing? Well, I know you do. I'm not asking you, Al. You can play along hypothetically because I already know the answer to this. Somebody, Francis in Glendale, sent me the tweet asking how many of the you get a free blank on your birthday restaurant, so you're hitting up. Like in Denny's, they'll give you a free meal on your birthday. A lot of places give you a piece of cake or something like that on your birthday.
Mastro's gives you the
seafood tower. The $98 seafood tower for free.
I love when that one comes up.
So good. Have you ever seen it? It's beautiful too.
Yeah, I have seen it. It's beautiful. I have not ordered it. Never ordered it.
I've been at a table when it's been ordered. It's not bad.
There was a table next to me that ordered it. I grabbed a shrimp.
Grab a shrimp, an oyster, some lobster. There's old crab legs. There's a whole bunch of things.
So you're saying going around today and going to get all those birthday free items?
I got my free Starbucks this morning.
Yep,
I've already taken advantage of that. 5 shots of espresso.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly, I have a very, very bad headache at the moment. I can't quite put 1, 2, and 2 together there.
Might be the weather.
Probably.
Could
be
the
dry
weather.
out.
Yeah.
Little dry out.
Nothing to do with Starbucks.
We'll go to dinner tonight, and I don't know, look, if a piece of cake just kind of slid across the table, I would, bring 5 forks. We can all share it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad way to do it.
Are you the one at the... You know how usually it's somebody else that says, "Hey, just want you to know it's my wife's birthday, or it's my son's birthday, it's my friend's birthday." Are you the one? Hey, it's my birthday.
No.
Right out the gate, menus are coming out. We'll get 5 waters, and just a heads up, might want to tell the chef back there, it's my birthday today.
Susan might say something to like, hey, it's because sometimes you make a reservation at a special occasion, and you'll say, yeah, it's a birthday or an anniversary or whatever it may be. So maybe the place we're probably going to end up has coconut cake, which, I mean, sure, why not? A little coconut. They put a little raspberry drizzle on the side.
When there's this is actually a good question. This should have been part of Factor Cap. I should save it for tomorrow. When there's a birthday going on at another table, and they're singing happy birthday, but let's say the table's like right next to you. Right next to you. Do you do anything?
No.
I give a little love.
A little clapping.
So I don't do that. I don't swing. I don't sing the song. I don't swing my napkin over my head like you were just pantomiming. This is the radio, Al. You can't just do this. Yeah, I understand we're on YouTube, but for the people that aren't. But I will do one of those after everybody leaves in the awkward moment. You can kind of do one of those. Hey, happy birthday! Just a little. I don't want to be a part of the team. I'll do it off to the side.
It's funny when people participate, but it's like 6 tables over. I'm like, you don't have to, guys. You've never met Patricia. Why are you singing happy birthday to Patricia?
They're hoping to get in on it. They want a free piece of apple pie or whatever it is. Free pie for the whole restaurant. I don't know. So I think just the Starbucks coffee is probably the way to do it.
No, you'll get some cake tonight.
No, look, I'll get a piece of cake for dessert, but if they want to give me a birthday filet mignon or New York strip, I'm in for that.
Does Wells Fargo do like a mortgage payment or anything? Just one mortgage payment for your birthday.
Some of these places honor it like a week after, too.
Yeah. A lot of those places.
Take advantage, Trav.
You know what I hate? I know I shouldn't say hate. That's too strong of a word. But it's just the most meaningless thing in the world. When you get that birthday card from like your dentist or your insurance broker.
Yep.
It's like, hey, happy birthday from all of us at Dr. Johnson's office. It's
100%.
Like, look, just because you have some program that automatically sends this thing out every week, I don't need your
happy
card,
birthday.
Dr. Johnson.
Are you looking to sell your home?
Yeah, it's passive aggressive, especially the dentist.
Interest
God,
rates
I haven't
are
seen you in forever.
Down to 7%.
I get it from my dentist every year. I get it from the insurance guy that we buy our car insurance from.
I've got it from like a real estate agent, a State Farm insurance. You're like, okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, State Farm's good. They're on it. State Farm they're on it.
They've got that birthday program locked and loaded, ready to go. Aaron Judge is in San Francisco today. He said he was there to visit friends and family and then winked at the camera. So I think we know that he's probably headed over to meet with the Giants at some point. He's from the Bay Area, kind of the Fresno area, so not super far away. He's coming off of an MVP. He's coming off of a 62 home run season. He is one of the best players in baseball. He's one of the biggest names in baseball. And you would think, as a Dodger fan, that I wouldn't want him to come to the Dodgers, to the West Coast, to the Dodgers division, everything else. I would love to see Aaron Judge play against the Dodgers 14 times a year. I really would. Because the Dodgers winning the division, I don't care. The Dodgers just need to get in the playoffs, and they will, whether Aaron Judge is in the division or not. I'd love to go toe-to-toe with Aaron Judge and see what that looks like over 162 games, because there has to be something to play for during the regular season. The wins are going to come no matter what.
It's interesting.
It's the playoffs, the only thing that really matters. We've talked about this a million times. So, yeah, bring him over here. Instead of him playing the Blue Jays a bunch of times, have him play the Dodgers and the Padres a bunch of times. I'd love to see that.
Actually, it's an interesting perspective because naturally we're always, no, I want that team to suck because I have to put, you have to play them X amount of times a year. That's right. This is the first year they won't be playing them 19 times anymore, right? I think
it's 14 now.
I think automatically there's every other team in the NL West has to face the Dodgers 5 times less. You imagine the Padres are like, oh, well, now we're getting to 94 wins this
Padres
year.
are hot, Sliwa,
because
they're looking for them now. Bring them on.
I don't know about that. But I didn't really think about that. And if you look at the attention, right now the Dodgers are the ones that obviously get all the attention. NL West, you could have matchups that are really interesting this upcoming season. You got Aaron Judge with the San Francisco Giants.
Cody Bellinger could be a Giant. They're apparently interested too.
You got Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. Go down the list. You got Juan Soto and Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr.
I was going to say him if you didn't.
About 20, 25 games in is when he'll come back.
Unless he gets ringworm again.
That's what.
What? I mean, he got ringworm. That's what he said. I don't know. I'm just going by what he said, Al.
I mean, he did say it.
Yeah.
So out the gate,
I didn't make it up.
You should believe it.
Yeah.
It would definitely make the regular season more interesting. And I think if there's one thing isn't this weird? What's hurt the Dodgers, at least what hurt them this past season, they didn't play any meaningful games during the regular season.
Greg and I were talking about that a little bit this morning, and they did
demolished everybody. And
they did, but the year before that, they played nothing but meaningful games the whole year, and they didn't get it done either.
That's why I didn't like when people were complaining about, the regular season. This, I'm like, wait a minute, guys. A year ago, everyone's saying that if they could have just got rest, and if they could have just, remember you had mentioned this 2-3 weeks before the regular season ended. You're like,
let it go.
Let it go. And they were just always close enough
never
to where
more
you
than,
just kept chasing.
2, 3,
maybe
1,
2 games
2,
or something like that.
2,
Came
1.
down to the final game of the regular season.
Yeah.
But, that's that changes the stakes a little bit.
I want to have something to watch during the regular season. I don't want to watch Aaron Judge come up to bat with the game on the line a bunch of times because I think he's a dangerous dude. But, look, the Dodgers are in such a weird position where what they do during the regular season is borderline meaningless as long as they're good enough to get into the playoffs, and something really super weird would have to happen for them not to be. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So if I get to see Judge, awesome. If you get to see Tatis, awesome. You get to see all the guys that you mentioned. Sign me up for that because you're going to have to beat the Braves, you're going to have to beat the Padres, you're going to have to beat the Mets and the Cardinals
and Phillies and whoever it is. Yep.
You're going to have to beat all those teams anyway. Mm-hmm. I just want to see good baseball 14 times as opposed to 4.
So you want?
Where do you stand on this, Berg? You want to see Aaron Judge on the Giants?
I kind of get stuck in between because I know, like, when it comes to other teams, I want the least path of resistance.
You just got that, and they played 4 extra games.
Yeah, I know, but do you want to have a tougher time in the regular season to then have to get into the postseason and have?
I don't think it matters.
I just always feel like the easiest path I have is the best way to go. So as much as I would love to have Aaron Judge in the division, I mean, I just hate the Giants, and I don't want them to have anybody good. But at the same time, I mean, it would be fun for TV and for baseball in general, but I want the easiest path. No, Judge can stay in New York. He can stay in the East as long as he's not.
As a fan of any game, you want the best 2 going up. As a fan of your team, I'm with you. I want give me the worst team possible. You're almost looking at the stands like, oh my gosh, if that team can upset this one, then we get to face them instead of them. Yep. Whatever the case is, right? But as a fan of just give me the best of the best, the cream of the crop. We always want to see the best. But when you're cheering for your team, I'm with you that there's the least resistance.
I get it. I just don't buy it. The idea, if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks, I already got to deal with Mookie and Freddie and these guys.
How about the Padres?
Right.
Padres
are good.
Mm-hmm.
Padres have a good team.
But do you want another good team in the division when you're already have the headache of the Dodgers?
But the Padres are good. The Padres prove that they're good enough to beat good teams.
Mm-hmm.
And a million things can happen, obviously, but I'm oddly okay with it. Maybe it's just, look, this could just be simply the residue of them face planting over and over again.
By the way, I think what you're saying, it is fascinating, and I think it does have to do with you following the Dodgers for as long as you have, being a fan as long as you have, and being disappointed so many times. There's probably a party that says, who cares? Yeah, if he wants to go there, go there. What does it matter? You lose to the Cardinals or the Padres or the Nationals or go down the list of teams that you're losing against anyways in the playoffs.
Name them all. He could have just kind of said Padres and the rest of them.
Super fun season.
You didn't have to go and list every last one of them. I'm surprised you didn't go back to the Expos back in the 80s.
Let me search Dodgers postseason history real quick. Go through the whole thing on Google.
I can tell you which year you want to know. I know all these things because they stick
every
with
Dodger
me.
fan already knows.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, bring them on. Why not? What are you going to do? All right, SC has everything they could ever ask for right in front of them, and they could still end up in the Holiday Bowl. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Sliwa is on for your Tuesday. We're here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We begin 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long. Yes, indeed. First off today, corporate Greg Bergman is sitting in for producer Emily. We heard her yesterday a little under the weather, and that airport story about her staring down a baby. That was good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, let us wish the one and only Sweet Tea, Travis Rogers, T-Raj, Trav, a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Travis. I feel like our Saturday night party was kind of a little birthday party for you.
Thanks for coming to my birthday party.
We'll find out what Trav is going to get into tonight for his birthday. Meanwhile, we know what Sliwa's going to get into tonight. Lakers basketball. Lakers Suns. LeBron's not going to play, but the Lakers are going for their 4th straight win. Oh, by the way, Trav's little birthday gift, since, Messi lost yesterday.
I won't take a significant wage reduction. I won't do it. I don't want it. I want to get baseball cards and Skittles and a new bike, and you can't make me take a significant wage reduction, whatever that means.
Let's get to it. Travis and Sliwa, your Tuesday right now.
I love that all of my messy references are the things that I liked when I was 11 years old. Baseball cards, new bikes, and Skittles.
orange slices.
And orange slices. Poor Messi. How did we lose to Saudi
Well, I mean,
Arabia?
listen, Saudi Arabia,
I don't want to go out and pool play. I want to go to the knockout round, and it can't stop me. Mom, Saudi Arabia beat
Their
me.
4-3-4-1 that they played. Don't laugh, Berg. This
Is that
isn't
right?
funny.
Is that
I
the right
just
amount of numbers?
No, I'm off by like 3. Or I have 3 extra.
Got me.
I think 3-4-3 is a real one.
They just showed Saudi Arabia dancing around, throwing a party. Messi's probably pouting in the corner and taking his ball and going
when I
home.
think of Saudi Arabia, I think of soccer. It's the first thing that I think of.
Me too.
That's what they're known for.
Every time I hear Chris talk about your party on Saturday, I get a little more upset.
Would you be more or less upset if I told you that as of yesterday afternoon at around 5 o'clock, I went into the backyard and I saw that the cooler was still kind of out by the back door. It's where I put it. Opened the cooler to see what was left. Still filled with ice cold beer, and the ice was still 2/3 of the way up. It's a pretty good cooler, by the way.
But Berg, you shouldn't feel bad. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because you were going to go to the SC UCLA game.
Right.
You weren't able to. So you had a reason that you couldn't go.
No, my daughter's birthday.
Now,
should have brought her.
Now, if you...
That's the problem.
Now, if you had nothing going on and you were bringing up to Travis on Friday, man, I don't know what I'm going to do for this SC UCLA game. Damn, be nice to watch it with some friends and stuff like that, with some coworkers. And he did that. Then that's a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more.
I think it's on
there.
at 5 on Fox. Good luck.
This just tells me we have to catch Trav on a spontaneous night. You know, it has to come together organically.
I am a good spontaneous organic host. I can throw something together.
We can't be planning ahead till February.
We'll see.
Make this happen.
It never happens if you plan ahead till February.
Is
it February or February?
It's got 2 R's.
Right.
It's February.
February.
Yeah. There's that
Everybody says
superfluous
February.
R in the front. Nobody says it. It's February, right? But it's actually February.
So you had 5 shots for your coffee.
5 shots of espresso.
5 shots of espresso.
Let's be specific.
5 shots. You had 5 coffees.
Yeah, I had 5 gins this morning.
Sometimes around 11:30. That's my time. Let's go get that second coffee. I know we were having some issues with our coffee machine.
Been down for a couple weeks.
Been down. It was 2 to 4 weeks concussion protocol. All right, so the coffee machine's down. But then I saw some people come in, and it looked like they were ready to do some work. They're going to go fix the coffee machine. Got a little excited in our last break. I'm like, okay, well, I think they're gone. I think the coffee machine, I think we're back. I think we're back in service. The sink had all the equipment of the coffee stuff
piled up.
So I turned the corner. Before I even turned the corner, because the coffee machine's kind of
hidden.
It's hidden. All the stuff by the sink is gone. So I'm like, we're back in business. I go grab a mug. I look over my shoulder. Look, coffee machine's gone. It's gone.
Like
the whole
there's
coffee
just a
machine.
hole in the wall where it used to be?
There is the space now is the vending machine.
With the tuna sandwiches.
And the chicken and cheese burrito. And then next to it is all the snacks, right? The Doritos, or whatever is it there. And then where the coffee machine was is now just a full space. You can stand there. You can back in.
You know what there's room for is a pot of coffee. Just put a pot.
Yeah, okay. Look, Taylor, you and I are on the same page on this one. I am very grateful that the good folks here at GKB put
the coffee's
that fancy
good.
coffee machine in there. And when it works, it's terrific. It's good
like
coffee.
One of those you go to like a car dealership or you get your car serviced and they're like, hey, go grab a cup of coffee.
Make you a latte, a mocha, espresso, whatever. It's a very fancy coffee machine. It's very nice. The problem is it's temperamental, shall we say. It doesn't work all that frequently.
Just don't want them to hear us.
That Bunn coffee pot that's been in existence since the 1800s, okay, works every day. Has worked every day for centuries. Can we just get that?
The problem is that people don't clean those out enough.
It's fine, but it's just coffee. It's not like we're making food in it. It's fine.
Agreed.
Pour out the old, make a new one.
We had a different coffee one that we just put the pot in.
Yeah, but that thing
it was fine.
It was okay, but it made pretty lousy coffee.
But let's just say this from like a batting percentage. If we're just going to use this,
the Bunn is Tony
sports,
Gwynn. He gets a hit every time.
It does. It's not. It's Tony Gwynn. It's Ted Williams. All right, they're just consistently on base. Okay.
Career 300 hitter.
This coffee machine is Bellinger.
Is Bellinger.
Yeah. The other coffee machine was a solid 265, 270 batter.
Trying to think.
They were respectable.
Like a Mookie?
No, it's not Mookie. It's
Freddie.
It's gotta be a high level. No, that other one was because it wasn't a high.
Corey Justin Turner.
It showed up. No, we're getting warmer because it was there every day.
Yeah.
And it worked, but it wasn't very good.
Chris Taylor.
Often. Chris Taylor this season.
That's what
it was. Not
no,
Chris
but
Taylor
that's not.
globally.
I feel like that's disrespectful
You know what
to
it is?
that coffee
No, here's
machine.
what it is. I got it.
Okay, whoa.
Well, I'm just saying,
Relax a little
Chris
bit.
Taylor. They had moments where
it's Luis Rengifo. The coffee pot that we had, the little pods one, because it wasn't like a Keurig, the fancy one. It wasn't one of those Nescafe, which are really, really nice. It was the Luis Rengifo of coffee pots. It was there. You could get a cup of coffee.
This one's Kimbrel. I have no idea. There's 5 out of 7 times I go get a cup of coffee. I don't know if it's going to be there.
Berg, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Because have you ever seen Alan less interested in anything I do than when I do my messy voice?
Oh, he totally checks out. I love the messy voice. I think it's my favorite of your voices. It's so funny. Why do you hate it so much?
I go use the restroom.
Yeah, I know you do, but why?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because there were times when we first started the show, okay, and the messy voice would come into play, and it wasn't like a messy sentence. It was like a messy segment.
More messy, the better. But it has to be done at the right time.
We lost today, Al. Today's the day.
You're completely right, and you're probably getting more people now that want it.
And now
than
I got to
ever.
play Mexico and Poland, and I'm not going to win any games.
He would break down the NL West with that voice. Okay.
Oh, that'd be great! What a fantastic
Aaron Judge
segment.
shouldn't come to San Francisco. He should stay in New York with the Bronx Bombers because that's where Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and Babe Ruth played baseball.
And then he'd go 8 more minutes.
I mean, then that's when you combat him with your Bellinger voice.
Mom, Ronaldo's leaving Man U. He gave a bad interview, and now he's leaving, and I want an interview with Pierce Morgan, and I won't come out of my room until you tell me that I can do it.
So what's wrong with the coffee machines? Why would he compare me to a coffee machine that doesn't produce? Because you don't produce.
That's
why.
Like I have less interest in seeing him in San Francisco, by the way, which he may. And apparently the Giants have some interest in Bellinger.
I don't think he should go there. I think he needs to go. I think he's got to go out of the East Coast.
Toronto,
go to an AL team.
Tampa,
just get away
Other
from
league East.
Get away from California.
Nova Scotia have a team.
Get away from coverage.
He's got to play in a state where it's not legal. I think. Honestly, Minnesota. Wisconsin.
No,
we're running out of spots to
Texas.
You really want Bellinger on the Twins?
I'll take him.
By
That'd
the way,
be okay. That's
okay. The spot.
That's
the spot.
But you see, kind of what I'm envisioning.
Fielder,
put him somewhere where like nobody's really talking about him. Let him kind of get back to trying to figure things out without that spotlight all over him.
And somewhere that would be happy to have him. Like Buxton obviously is in center, and he's a really good player, but. Put him in right field, or put Bellinger in right field. Bellinger can play anywhere.
Who's your first baseman with the Twins?
Sano, right?
No, Sano's gone now.
Sano's gone?
You need a first baseman. He's a very good first baseman.
Yeah, but he's arguably the best center fielder in baseball. Don't you kind of move someone else around?
What you just painted, yeah. He's somewhere where nobody's talking about him. He can try to figure it out. Problem with Bellinger, as bad as he was also playing for a franchise that was unbelievable these last few years with all his mistakes or with his lack of bat or whatever you want to call it. Every day, if you're going to talk baseball, and you're going to talk about the Dodgers.
Here's what it is. The Dodgers ship has sailed. You can't go play for the Yankees. You can't go play for the Mets. You can't go play for the Red Sox or the Cubs or the Cardinals or the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it is probably in play. You could probably go play just about anywhere else. Look, you know where it does not make, or I should say makes a little bit of sense? I don't know if it's a perfect fit, but it's one of those, yeah, all right. Especially if the number's human. The Angels. Who knows? Now he'll probably hit $112 with the Angels because Angels. Mm-hmm. But just a place like that where, look, if we get something great, if we don't, it's not the end of the world. He needs that environment.
Yeah. We'll see if he gets it. What does the agent say? 6 to 7 teams interested?
Uh-huh.
What do we divide that? When an agent says that, you divide that by
2.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if there were 6 or 7 teams, there'd be a bidding war, and he'd be signed, right?
Yeah.
Not just, there's so many teams, I don't even know where to go. Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, sure. Like when somebody when your house goes on the
I'm
market.
so flustered. There's so many calls.
Hey, we're putting our house up for sale. Here are 7 offers over list price. I just don't know what to do. Yeah, you do. You take the one with the most. Keep it moving. I don't know, man.
So there's 7 offers, but it's been on the market for 56 days. Just really.
That's it.
Just
That's
really
it.
try to make a decision.
That's it right there. Berg, get your picks ready. Slee, get your picks ready. Taylor, get your picks ready. It's our NFL picks against the spread. Coming up next is Travis Slee, 710 ESPN. Here's the standings. I still have the lead, but it's much smaller than it used to be. I have a 63-point total. Emily is next with 58. Al is third with 52. Taylor, you're no longer in last. You have 43. DeMarco Farr is in last with 1.
He has 1.
1 point.
There's 1.
He played last week, and he only got 1 point along the way.
No, I did this with you once before, and I got 0.
Yeah, that's right.
So DeMarco's in second, or second worst.
That's right. Hold on.
That was last year. That doesn't count anymore.
Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year. It wasn't this year.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to add you to the running total. Here we go. We always start, Greg, you're going first, by the way. We start with the Rams. Rams are on the road in Kansas City. They are getting 9.5 points. The Rams, by the way, largest point spread in the Sean McVay era that he's been on the wrong side of. Who you got, Greg?
So I think you got to go with KC here, being at home. Stafford's is in concussion protocol again. You don't know what Bryce Perkins all about, and really that team is just not very good in general. And obviously Patrick Mahomes can put up a ton of points at home. Yeah, give me KC with the 4.
All right, KC with 4. I'm going second here. Everything you just said is right. The Rams are playing really poorly. Their offensive line gets somehow, some way, gets worse every single week. They'll probably be playing either a second or a third string backup, and 9.5 points doesn't seem like nearly enough. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Give me the Rams at 1.
You're such a homer.
Alan's
such a homer.
I just want to take a step back. That setup was amazing. And I even was like, wow, he's finally taking another team.
Have you ever taken anything but
Don't worry about who I've taken. All you need to worry about is this name at the top of the list.
He is on the top of the list, so can't do anything there.
Yeah.
3 KC.
Okay, that's
3 KC.
Taylor.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is obvious to me. KC, I have them at my 3 as well.
You guys are lame. Just because they're the best team and the Rams might be. Look, the Texans are the worst team in the league. After that, I'm willing to listen to conversations because it's not definitely the Rams. There's the Raiders. There's the Broncos.
But they're up there in the conversation.
They're in the ballpark. They could certainly do it. All right, I'm going first to the next one. USC and Notre Dame at the Coliseum. USC, 6.5-point favorites. I told you guys this last week. USC has made me some points in this pool every single week. I'm going to ride it. They got it for me again last week. Give me USC all the way to top at number 4. Taylor.
I have USC winning this as well. Number 2 for me.
SC at 2 for Taylor. Slee.
I think SC wins, but I think we got a game. 6.5 is a bigger spread than I thought it would be. Not confident about it. I'm going to go Notre Dame at 1.
Notre Dame, the Irish at 1. Berg.
With that USC defense, I think it's just too many points. It could very well be a 3-point game. Notre Dame's going to score basically every possession because SC's defense isn't that good. So I got Notre Dame with my 2.
All right, Notre Dame with 2. There we go. Got a little split, so I'm going to give Emily Notre Dame at 2 for Bergman. Here's the thing I mentioned to you guys earlier. SC's defense is lousy, but they get turnovers. They have a plus 20 differential. They have 6 games this season where they have had 2 or more turnovers. That's a big deal. You don't have to get stops if you're getting some takeaways, and I'm going to keep telling myself that until it bucks me along the way.
They're cashing you in.
Las Vegas on the road in Seattle against the Seahawks, the division leading, at least for the time being, until San Francisco gets a few more games under their belt. Seahawks are favored by 3.5 over the Raiders. Taylor.
Okay, I'm picking the Vegas Raiders for no reason other than having Greg behind me today. So put them at 1.
The Vegas Raiders at 1. Al.
All right, so this is probably way too aggressive, but the Raiders have not shown me anything to have faith in the Raiders. Seattle's coming off a loss to Tampa. They need the W. I'm going to go 4 on this one. I don't think 3.5 is enough. I'm going Seattle.
Seattle all the way at the top. Berg.
So because I'm not going just for myself, it's for Emily too. I have to be honest about it, and I took Seattle with a 3.
Okay, Seattle at the 3. Let me put that down in both spots. So here's the thing. The Raiders might be the second worst team in the league. The Raiders do not win last week if, I don't know, somebody on the Denver Broncos decides to cover Davante Adams. Hey,
it's just overtime.
Who leads the league in touchdowns? Oh, Davante Adams. Should we cover him? Nah. Just let him run free down the field in overtime. The Raiders should have lost that game. Russell Wilson should have never thrown the ball away. They botched their timeout situation. They botched the clock management. The Raiders are a legitimately bad team. Give me Seattle at 3 as well. The last one, Slee, you go first. The Los Angeles Chargers.
My favorite is?
At the Arizona.
My favorite. What'd you write there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So that I do on purpose because if I put two LAs, it's too confusing. So I write down San Diego.
Put SD on there.
San Diego at Arizona. Arizona is a road dog, or excuse me, a home dog. Home dog. Arizona getting 2.5.
It's actually kind of a tough game. I'm going to give the Chargers the benefit of doubt. This, they're such a weird team. Bad teams, they don't play well. Good teams, they play well, but they still end up losing those games. I think the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers with my number 2.
All right, Chargers at number 2, and we got who's next here? It is Berg.
So there's one team in all of sports, I don't care what it is, that I will always go against. I'm going against the Chargers. They are one of those teams that just can't figure games they should win. They win games they shouldn't. So I'm going with Arizona with my 1.
Arizona at 1. Taylor.
I have the Chargers bouncing back after losing to the Chiefs. Got them at my 4. Pretty confident.
You got Arizona at the 4 or the Chargers?
No, Chargers.
Okay, Chargers at the 4. I got to take the Chargers. I don't want to. The only team Arizona's even looked even moderately good against has been the Rams, and everybody has looked pretty good against the Rams so far. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put the Chargers in the number 2 spot. Taylor, good luck. Berg, good luck. And Slee, you still are sitting on just a half a win so far this season.
Yeah, I know.
That's how I measure my success. 2.5 wins.
Season ain't over, guys.
No.
We got plenty of time left.
You could be the Phillies. Just get in and get hot at the right time.
But
and
even
you're off
the
and
regular
running.
season, I just need a week where I get 4 or 5 points on you. That's the problem. Is I just keep. If I get 4 or 5 points, I'm within striking distance.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I'm sitting at I think
we've been
11
the same
back.
like 2 of the last 3 weeks. We've been exactly the same.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
Not
we
gaining any
all go
ground
back
here.
to 0 at the beginning of the season. Let's talk a little bit about SC because at the beginning of the year, you can make the case that this was a transitional year for the program,
Yeah.
right? That you got the new coach, you've used the portal, you're bringing in a bunch of new players.
But it's going to take time.
It's going to take a little time. It hasn't. They've been really good since the opening week. They had one 1-point loss on the road against a pretty good Utah team that went for it at the end and got it done. They just beat their rival in UCLA. And now they're positioned to, if they can beat Notre Dame and Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game, you never say for sure, but very, very likely they're into the Final Four. That's the path. And if that does happen, Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman Trophy. That feels like a foregone conclusion. What could also happen is you could lose one or both of these remaining 2 games. You've got good opponents in both of those. Caleb Williams' Heisman Trophy goes out the window. You don't go to the Final Four. You don't go to the Rose Bowl. You end up in a second-tier Pac-12 affiliated bowl game, and now you're a 3-loss team or a 2-loss team playing on December 28th. What exactly did you get accomplished here? That it's the perfect season, or that was better than we had last year, but boy, oh boy, was that an unbelievable letdown considering how close we got.
Damn. The fact that you only have 2 games left.
Right.
And either one of those scenarios can play out. And both of those, the emotions are so much different if you're an SC fan and you're trying to equate whether this was a good season or not. Let me the reason why I think when they beat UCLA, and you and I talked about it, we didn't think they were going to run the table. UCLA, Notre Dame, and the Pac-12 championship was going to be Oregon. You got UCLA out of the way. Close game, came down to DTR doesn't throw a pick in that final drive. Could have went to overtime. Whatever happens.
Lost that game.
Probably, you're not wrong. They probably should have, but this is just so common in sports. Good teams find a way to win at the end. SC found a way to win at the end. Notre Dame has won 5 games in a row. People are not talking about Notre Dame, and I understand why. They started off so bad. If you remember,
0-3.
So they lost to Ohio State. They lost to Marshall. I know the game you're talking about. They ended up beating Cal in that 3rd game.
Oh, they
Remember,
lost
it was
to
like
Stanford in the 4th game?
Exactly, something like that. But they lost to Stanford a little bit later on. Since then, they've won 5 in a row. They took down a ranked Syracuse team. They took down, at the time, number 4 Clemson.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a great win, by the way.
That's a really, really good win.
Yes.
Okay, so I just set that up because it's not like they got a layup at the end of the season and they're just thinking – if you start thinking about Oregon and you got Notre Dame this weekend, you can easily lose to Notre Dame. Plus, it's a rivalry game. Plus, there's always there's great history between the 2 schools, 2 universities. But if you get past them, and now you're staring at the Pac-12 championship in your first year as the head coach of USC. Do you remember when Lincoln Riley did his? They did it at the Coliseum, and he did his presser.
Yep.
Right? Mike Bone. I forget the president of USC, Carol. I forget her name.
Folt, I believe.
Okay, she part of the introduces as well. And I remember him sitting there and basically saying things like, "Oh no, it's back. Like, relax for a second. Like you haven't done anything. Oh no, it's back. This place is going to be filled. The energy at this place is going to be something else." And he was so confident about what he was going to do overnight. And it's like, all right, I don't know. Are you overselling this thing? He's lived up to expectations. SC has lived up to expectations. The only thing you can't have at this point, like you just mentioned, if you lose both of these games and then you end
I'll
up...
make a different argument. You're right. The worst case scenario is you beat Notre Dame and lose to Oregon because now you're 1 away. Right now, you're 2 away. Right? If you lose to Notre Dame, it's the championship at least is the national championship, the Final Four. It's out the window, but you can still go to the Rose Bowl. You still got a chance to go to the Rose Bowl, beat Oregon. You got a chance. The worst possible scenario is beat Notre Dame, got a chance at the Final Four, still have a chance, even if something weird happens like LSU beats Georgia.
Yep.
You still have the Rose Bowl right there in front of you, and then you stub your toe against the Ducks. That's the worst. And by the way, if you lose either one of those two games, Caleb Williams doesn't win the Heisman Trophy either. Probably give it to C.J. Stroud. We can argue whether they should or not, but that's probably the way that this thing goes. And we've spent 3.5 months getting to this point, and everything that you could have possibly wanted is still on the plate. And it could end up being where it's the most unsatisfying conclusion to a pretty good season that you could possibly imagine.
I think that's why, Berg, you were making that point earlier, is I get what the expectations were. I get that this takes a second. It's not common to just go from irrelevant to all of a sudden you're one of the top 5 teams in college football. That's where I see his point where, Berg, when you were saying earlier, you were talking about, I'm not telling you what the expectations should have been, this, that, but you're here. And you're now 2 wins away from getting to the college football championship. I get your point about that is if you don't get there at this point after you've accomplished everything that you did. But these could arguably be the 2 toughest games they've had all season long.
Sure. They probably are.
But you kind of made my point for me when you were talking about how he was at his press conference with Carol Folt and he was saying how he's going to turn it around right away. And now
but
he's
has.
doing that. Exactly. Well, he's doing that. So now if you're upset that – he's going to be upset if he doesn't make it further. Where he is right now is right on the precipice of getting into a college football playoff that Clay Helton could never get to, that USC wasn't able to get to. So now you're right there. You're on the precipice of getting there, and you have the chance. You have the control of your own destiny.
Yeah, you don't need somebody else. It might not matter what happens to anybody else.
No, if you win these 2 games, most likely you get in.
The only way you
LSU,
don't get in with by your own.
You win both. Who gets? Let's say you win both.
If you win both and Georgia wins, you're in. If you win both and LSU beats Georgia, you might still get.
So
the
then
shaft.
there might be a little bit of a.
So then you'd get LSU, Georgia, let's say Ohio State or Michigan, one of those teams, and TCU.
Yeah,
but I think
that
look,
you can't
here,
control.
So because TCU is undefeated, that most likely, but they're the Big 12. There's an argument to be made if USC wins.
I agree.
You can still put them in over TCU.
I think that there's an argument there, and let's say that LSU does not win. There's a scenario where SC goes from outside the Final Four to not number 4, but to rather number 3, and then that changes everything. Plus, does this feel like it used to feel? That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Sounds good. Let me open up another bottle of wine.
Everybody else at the party is like it's time to shut this thing down, and she's just ready to get it started. And I started thinking, like, maybe if I flip the script, like turn the tables on it, like I'm going to settle in. I am not going to leave. I'm going to be the very last person. I'm going to wait as long as I possibly can for her. And I just realized it wouldn't work. It would the light bulb would never go off. Like, hey, Trav, we've been here a long time.
It's
we should probably
2:45 in the morning.
Like, this is the best party we've ever been to. It's amazing. She wouldn't want to leave.
I don't think you have that because you're not I go to sleep at 1 a.m. or something. No, you go to bed relatively early. So the fact that I think you're just playing into her world. She's a night person, right?
More so than me, for sure.
So.
But it's like, even let's say it was a lunch, right? Like you went out to lunch with friends at noon, and it got to be 4 o'clock, and I'm just sitting there with my legs crossed, saying, "You know what? Bring me another Coors Light." This is awesome. Yeah, I'll take a glass of wine too. You guys want to order a second lunch? We've been here for a while. Such a long night.
Take her to a 15-inning baseball game.
She'd
love that too?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes,
okay.
there is no point in it where she's done with the night.
You know when restaurants close in between lunch and dinner?
She'd offer to do the dishes.
I was just going to say, they're saying like, okay, guys, we are back open at 5:30. And she's like, well, we'll stick around. No problem. Can we see the dinner menu?
In the meantime, can I see the dinner menu? And can you just leave a little bread on the table? She's the best. She's the best. Yeah. All right.
We couldn't see the score. Berg and I were yelling.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's 4-1 now.
Yeah, but it's not about the actual score of the game. When you look at it.
They scored 2 goals in the time I went to the bathroom?
Yes.
How did that happen?
One of them was a header. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
Well,
okay, here's the issue.
Either a header or a footer. It's not like he threw it in.
Well, that's illegal. But it's the score bug.
It's the beautiful game.
It's actually okay. Do you see what we're saying here with the score?
Yeah.
Why that thing in the middle? It's throwing me off. It kind of takes away the
X.
1.
I believe
it's the logo.
I think it's the logo
small.
of the
It's got a
tournament.
dash.
Yeah, like all these tournaments have logos.
That logo in the bottom left-hand corner or something.
You're the one dropping Zidane knowledge.
I was wrong. He was manager for Real Madrid.
By the way, Greg, that the story you sent about Ronaldo.
Yeah,
he's a Man U, right? Or
yep.
was. He gave an interview with Piers Morgan in the UK, and apparently he was critical of the team. And a couple of days later, like, yeah, we're done. We're agreeing to mutually part ways. Are the rules that different over there? Where just a little criticism?
Sounds a little sensitive for the franchise.
So nice, and apparently the owners of Man U is trying to sell too. So now that Man U is all up and going crazy right now, losing the team itself, losing your best player.
Like, imagine if LeBron's like, this team isn't really coming together the way that I thought it would, and management kind of hasn't really put together the squad that I was hoping for.
Like, you're out.
You're out.
Did.
It's like, wait, what?
That'd be awesome.
He did on the shop. He kind of did on the shop.
No, kind of did because he's LeBron. And
right.
That's what he always does.
I mean, when he got the picks, it does.
But what he's saying is, imagine if that happened in the franchise. Like, he's out of here. It's like, that's not how it works.
You don't tell us that we are not doing what you think. You're damn.
But why shouldn't it? Shouldn't it? I mean, if you're done with a player, you should be like, okay, just because you are who you are. This is the biggest player in the history of sports. Maybe not history, but the biggest player in sports, period, in the world. He has over 500 million Instagram followers.
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about where he is in his career, but I'd imagine if he was in his absolute prime and there's 5 more years of Ronaldo, he's probably not going anywhere.
I guarantee. Here's the yes. I don't know where he is in his career. Other than he's not in his prime.
Yeah.
Because then he wouldn't be down the road.
No. Then they would say, well, we need to do a better job with our decisions.
The difference is LeBron, or if this were Giannis. Right, sure. If he were in the Giannis portion of his career,
yep.
You say, you know what, you're right. We probably haven't done as good a job. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out a way to do it. Let's go back to SC very quickly. Caleb Williams was at Oklahoma last year. Jordan Addison was at Pitt. Travis Dye was at Oregon, not only at Oregon, but was one of the great players in Oregon's college football history. Spent 4 years there. Lincoln Riley was the head coach at Oklahoma a year ago. And not that anybody's doing anything untoward or illicit, but does it not just feel this much different now, just a little bit? And SC fans probably feel no, but that you just put together it's like a free agent all-star team.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it felt with Pete Carroll or with John Robinson or those guys. It feels more store-bought, like, hey, I want a really good this. I'm just going to go buy it as opposed to build it.
You don't have to say, I don't think you have to, it feels this way. No, it's different. It is different. Like, there's something going on with college football that is different. This is not the way it was, or if it was done in the past, I don't think it's the first time that you got people coming over picking a school
Sure.
based off of whatever it is, right?
Academics.
But this is
Yeah, that's what it is.
Exactly.
Have you not seen the theater program at USC? It's fantastic.
That's why he's there. I think that
you haven't been looking at their chemistry department. They are coming up with some innovations that you just wouldn't believe.
Their scuba diving class. Top.
The college football landscape in general is completely different. I mentioned this to you, I think on Monday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I was trying to mention, I'm like, man, college football in LA is going to change significantly once USC and UCLA leave. Okay?
SC.
But even UCLA, and I'll tell you why UCLA. Because when Ohio State is number 3 in the country and they're coming out to the Rose Bowl, that's a pretty cool event for Los Angeles. You might not have UCLA. UCLA could be unranked, but the fact that that type of program is walking to LA and they're going to be at the Rose Bowl, I would go to a game like that just to see some good college football.
You would, but I don't know if, like, for instance, I think that the way you need to look at it is not so much because it's in your backyard that we'd go see it. If Ohio State is coming to play Cal on a Saturday afternoon and it's on, do you care? Not really. And UCLA and Cal UCLA is a little bit better than Cal, but it's not. Their football programs are just kind of, they have one, it's there. But there's not a rabid base of UCLA football fans in the city. They just don't exist.
I mean, that's a little bit overblown to say they don't exist. There is a very large fan base of UCLA football.
But isn't this
we
the
expect
exact,
to lose?
Isn't this the exact same thing? But isn't this the exact same thing as the Yankees are coming to town? Okay, let's say it's even the Yankees and the Angels. It's a big deal for that base. It's a big deal for people who are in Anaheim and saying, wow, the Yankees are coming to town.
No, I think you'll get the people that come to watch the Yankees are people from New York that have been Yankee fans. If there's a hidden supply of Ohio State Buckeye fans here, then sure, but I don't think there are.
It's not that. You'll also have Angel fans that are going to go out because the Yankees are in town. That's why when they sell, like when they sell those ticket packages, they try to avoid the big teams because like those games are going to sell anyways.
Yeah, but if you go to, like, to use your example, you go to an Angel game against the Yankees, it's 70% Yankee fans.
But 10% more Angel fans because they're playing the Yankees.
Perhaps. That could definitely be true. It does feel weird, though.
It is different. But all I was saying is that the college football landscape is changing. Now there's going to be powerhouse leagues, real powerhouse leagues where SC is playing with Penn State and Michigan and Ohio State, and if Wisconsin's any good, the SEC doing what they're doing, it's completely changed.
See, this is why I love the Travis Lee community. Eddie Carrillo just tweeted at us. It says, guys, just to make it clear how far Ronaldo has fallen, the rumors are he's coming to MLS. So from Man U to MLS, that's different. That's like going from the Yankees to go play in Japan, Taiwan, something, not
like Dwight Howard in Taiwan.
Yeah, I mean it's a professional league and it's good, but it's not the league the way that the EPL is.
Well, I did not know that, so thank you for that information.
You should become like, you should get a British accent.
Yep.
You should call it football.
This shows you how little we both know. Is because I said Zidane managed the wrong team, by the way. I said the wrong team. It was Real Madrid. And now you look at me as, oh, you got a soccer question? Go to hell.
Yeah, you're the guy.
That's way off.
You're the guy. Will Australia come back from 3 goals down in the 82nd minute?
Of course not. I picked France.
No, France is taking care of business. They're going to be the first team ever to win the World Cup and then come back and make the knockout round.
Wait. Should we correct that stat?
Sure, we can. It's European teams, and it's not in the last 16 years or something like that. So it was wrong
twice. Listen.
It has happened before.
But Berg, this is the best part. Is when I walked in, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. The whole France thing. You're like, yeah, I think that was wrong.
Did they win?
I don't like being wrong.
The 2018 World Cup?
No, France did absolutely win.
They did win
but
it?
the team that won the prior year, some teams have gotten out of the group stage. Like Brazil won twice in a row, so they had to have gotten out of the group stage after.
Yeah, that would be hard to win it.
Yeah, so just don't listen to my stats.
If you don't like
First
it,
about soccer.
It's not. Don't
About
listen to your
soccer.
stats. Don't listen to your soccer stats.
It's fine.
You don't like
It's
it,
fine.
turn
Listen to
off
your
your
soccer
station.
stats.
Sometimes you shouldn't listen to everybody. I swear
This
I
guy,
saw
the
it.
moment I went in there, he's like, "No, I think that was wrong." Okay.
Hey, at least I owned up to it.
Well, that's
course.
fine. It's fine. Look, if you're going to be, and I like that you were wrong, like twice wrong. I really like the double wrong in one thing. The
You
dub.
have a problem, turn off your station.
It's one of my favorites.
It's the best.
It's one of my favorites.
He's not even.
All right, Mike.
Was there a camera on him? Because
Oh,
he never
yeah.
looked into the camera,
Oh,
right? Now he's just
yeah.
kind of looking around like you
Mike,
want to freaking go.
He was having a bad day. Just
Yeah,
leave
it
him
was.
alone. He's come around. He's doing a lot better.
You should play that for the dude who's shaving and not cleaning up his stuff in the bathroom.
No, he's gonna.
I got some plans for him.
Taylor's gonna send the note. Hey, Dave, would you mind cleaning your whiskers out of the sink? If you don't like it, clean your own bathroom.
You know what Greg would do? Greg would hide in the closet when he's sleeping and then scare the hell out of him.
Absolutely.
And then get beaten to a pulp.
No, see, that's not going to happen. I'm a big, strong man.
Dave, if he's bigger than Taylor and got 100 pounds, I don't think you want Dave's smoke at this point. The Dump coming up next. It's Travis Slee, 710 ESPN. Greg, I don't know if you should feel really good about this or Taylor and I and Emily should feel really bad about this.
I mean, it's probably the latter.
I think so. So, Taylor, did you notice anything unusual that happened during that last commercial break that we had right there?
Not at all.
No?
We all I don't know. We were all talking in here.
Oh,
well,
shoot,
not
we were
all of
supposed
us.
to do something.
Not all of us.
What happened?
So usually one of three things happens when we go to break.
Yeah.
Right? You or I will go get a cup of coffee or a glass of water, use the men's room. That's one. Number two is we'll both sit in here and kind of sometimes we'll chit-chat, sometimes we'll just kind of catch our breath.
Yep.
And those are really the two options. This time you got up, went into the other room, and left me by myself to chat with Taylor and Greg.
Pretty good conversation, too. We were covering a lot of different things.
Don't know who should be most offended by this.
Well, you doing you got Sweet James going on. You're a busy man.
It's only a minute or so.
You're a busy man. I don't do that very often.
On my birthday, no less. How rude.
You left him on his birthday. I mean, I feel great that you came in to come talk to
We had a good conversation.
I don't think I've ever seen that, where he just sat down in the chair over there, crossed his legs, relaxed.
Just bring it out of people, Trav. I don't know what you want me to say.
Here is Sacramento Kings play Memphis tonight.
Yeah, we had to talk about that.
And Ja Morant is questionable for tonight. So I went in there.
7 in a row?
So I went in there and I said, hey, that's a good game coming up. And guess who watched Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
Oh, did you watch it, Taylor?
He's three episodes in. I'm 3 episodes in. We got one left to go. You're completely blind to this,
I don't
right?
even know what this is.
Okay. Sounds good.
So do you remember back
Where's
in the
my
day,
jet?
Pepsi used to do a promotion where for every Pepsi that you bought, you got points. And you could cash in those points for like a Pepsi T-shirt.
Sunglasses.
Pepsi sunglasses.
Leather jacket.
Does that ring a bell at all?
Kind of. Was it like in the 90s?
Same thing that Marlboro used to do with their Marlboro
Yes.
points.
I smoked so many cigarettes in the
Definitely
80s trying to get...
I got a Camaro.
During the Cola Wars.
Okay, so one of the commercials, this is what this whole documentary is on. It's 4 episodes on Netflix. One of the commercials, at the end, it said... It has a dude basically in a Harrier jet.
Yeah.
Okay? And he's probably 21 years old or something like that. And he lands and he says, beats taking the bus. And it says at the bottom, 700,000 Pepsi points for a Harrier jet. So there's a 21-year-old dude.
21 at the time.
21 at the time. That's like, wait a minute. Is that a real thing? Can I get a Harrier jet if I get 700,000 points? So he finds loophole after loophole, takes it to an attorney. There's no
disclaimer.
There's no disclaimer, but there was a disclaimer in Canada, right? On the same commercial in Canada had a disclaimer. So he's going toe-to-toe, and now all of a sudden he's got Pepsi attorney's attention. Wait a minute, guys. Tell me this is not real. Did we do this? Did we do that? So he's hiring attorneys, all this stuff. So this is 4 episodes. We got 1 episode left of this guy not trying to get money and trying to get cashed out, trying to get a Harrier jet,
He wants
telling
the plane.
Pepsi, I want what you promised in that ad.
Well, the jet's worth $35 million.
32.
Yeah.
32 mil.
Well, yeah, I'd
for
want the
him.
jet too.
You should.
Kind
And
of interesting.
they're legal to own if it doesn't have the weaponry on it.
Yep.
Where do you leave it? You just kind of park it in your front yard? That's
At your
against
neighbors,
the HOA.
across the street at your neighbors where the storage stuff was.
It's against the HOA. You can't put your Harrier in my front. Maybe in your backyard. The Harrier's the one that goes straight up and down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you
And
can just
it
put it in the
goes back,
backyard.
too, yep.
Yeah.
Backwards? It goes backwards?
Yeah, it does.
What's it called? Where's my Pepsi? Where's my jet?
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Where's my jet?
I'll check that out. That doesn't sound so bad. Breaking Rams news, like legitimate. The Rams have waived running back Darrell Henderson. So the Rams have had a ton of problems at running back all season long. And go ahead and cash your ticket
Wow.
at the window if you thought that Cam Akers would still be here in Week 12 and Darrell Henderson would not be. He's kind of fallen out of favor the last couple of weeks. They've used Akers a little more. Kyron Williams got a lot of run last week. He actually led the team in carries. Darrell Henderson is now available to whoever would want to claim him. The Rams have waived Darrell Henderson.
And also Justin Hollins, outside linebacker. Is that shocking at all?
No, he has not been. He hasn't been available a lot. He hasn't played particularly well along the way. So no, this is what happens when you're 3-7.
Yep.
This is what happens when a coach and an organization is going through a season that is a disaster that wasn't supposed to be. It's one thing if the Houston Texans aren't firing people left and right because they're a one-win team. They knew they're going to be a bad team. The Rams were supposed to win the division, compete in the playoffs. They're 3-7, and guys are getting taken out.
So the Broncos just waived Melvin Gordon. Is that someone the Rams should be interested in? I mean, he has fumbleitis.
His issue. The dude can't hold on to the ball. Cannot hold on to the ball.
Veteran running back.
He's can't hold on to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's also probably, if you put Melvin Gordon on this team and assuming you could get that fumble thing under control to a point, he's probably the best running back on your team all of a sudden. And I thought that they made a mistake on letting Sony Michel go last year. I thought he was a really good player for them.
Yeah.
We'll still see what happens to Kyron Williams, but this is what happens when your team goes bad. And,
simple as that,
yeah.
right? Like just whatever was in the cards before. You're 3-7. You got KC coming up in Kansas City.
Okay.
And you still took the Rams with the points.
This is me purely speculating. I just kind of put 1 + 1 + 1 here together. Tell me, the Todd Gurley era in LA ended very badly, very quickly, very badly. The Cam Akers situation was bizarre to the point where they sent him home for a few weeks along the way. Darrell Henderson cut today. What's going on? That's one position group where you're having a lot of conflict. Is that the nature of the position? Is it the coaching? Is that not weird? Am I making something out of nothing here, Al?
Could it be? I don't know how this works. Is Darrell Henderson one of those players that, hey, it ain't going to happen here. If I move on and I could go sign with a team that's maybe has more opportunity, could it be something like that?
He's been an interesting one because he's
chance to win somewhere else.
He hasn't been healthy enough to play a lot. His inability to get on the field is more his inability to stay healthy than it is his performance.
Is his knee?
Yeah, when he plays, he's okay. He's not great. He's just okay, but this does not feel like, hey, I didn't get my fair share. I need to go somewhere else. Let's do a little super crosstalk. Super crosstalk.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begin. It's time for Super Crosstalk.
Perfect timing. Ramona's just walking in right now. John is in Phoenix getting ready for the Lakers and the Suns tonight. John DeGiro's talking about Darrell Henderson right there.
Yeah, explain that, Trav. I don't. They know they still need someone to run the ball, don't they?
I think that you're going to see Kyron Williams get a lot of touches. That Sean McVay was very high on him in camp. He was very high on him coming into the season. He got hurt in the opening game of the season. And 2 weeks ago, he finally got on the field for the first time. They didn't use him very much against Arizona. He led the team in carries last week against New Orleans. I think they're just going to see what they got in him. And then Akers can be the second guy that didn't need a third one. That would be my guess.
All right, so Sony Michel led him in rushing last year, and they released him. They tried to get rid of Cam Akers a month ago. Now they get rid of Darrell Henderson. What the heck? I mean, like,
go back further, John. The Todd Gurley era ended oddly and abruptly.
I mean, they really do think running back is a completely disposable position. I mean, it's obvious. It's like right now they have Kyron Williams and Cam Akers.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right?
Malcolm Brown, I believe, is still on the roster, too. They picked him up halfway through the season. He really hasn't played a bunch. They had Ronnie Rivers. I think he's still there, too. So they've got some other guys, but you're right. It's Williams and Akers are the two guys that are going to touch the ball.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah, Jordan Rodriguez put out there, including prior to start of the season, that Rams hope for Kyron Williams when drafting him would be he'd some point take over Henderson's role. So you're right. This stage of the season, try him. See what you got out of him.
By the way, he looked
That's
pretty
kind
good
of what
in
you
the
do
limited time
at this
that he got.
It's rough being a running back in the NFL.
Well, especially if you play for the Rams.
God, it's like, I don't know what's a rougher job, a running back in the NFL or a center in the NBA.
Are they
similar? They're both positions that are not being paid anymore.
Right, at this stage.
Paid, and also like just you feel pretty disposable. Like you have a couple of good runs, couple of good games, and they just find somebody else who can do it for cheaper.
Well, when we were kids, right, the running back was kind of the marquee position in the league. You had all of these different guys, and right now, if you're talking star running backs, there's Derrick Henry, there's McCaffrey, and Saquon. Is that it? Is that the list?
Derrick Henry, McCaffrey,
Saquon.
The guy in Indiana, Jonathan Taylor. Maybe.
He's been kind of
But
a bust this year.
Yeah, but he hasn't been healthy. This is a great question.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of other running backs that I would.
Ezekiel Elliott, does he count? He gets paid like one.
Yeah,
but
he gets paid like it.
No,
but he doesn't
I'd rather
perform
have
like
Pollard than Elliott.
Pollard's a better player.
What about
than
Dalvin
Elliott.
Cook?
Dalvin Cook, kind of. Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook I would take.
But
Joe Mixon's having a big year, but he's got baggage.
But those guys aren't on that level of
No.
those first three guys. Like McCaffrey, Saquon, and Henry are kind of tier one, and I don't even know if there is a
Austin
tier
Eckler.
two. He gets a lot of touchdowns, but
I mean,
all he does is score touchdowns.
I mean,
right?
just in terms of like,
Kind of shows that the value has gone down.
Yeah, the value's gone. It's not just like we all know this because of fantasy, right? But in the NFL, if you want to get paid in the NFL, it's really hard to justify paying a running back that much money.
Well, they go bad like milk too. That once it's bad, it's it. There's no turning it around. You guys with the NBA, let's go to there for a second. And just obviously the Rams are having an incredibly disappointing season at 3-7. They're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Does we're going to cut some guys wake everybody else up in the organization? Is that as much as anything else? This, hey, we have 7 games to go and everybody needs to plug in or we're sending you home.
I think you
It
just
would for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way I always approached it when I was on a bad team, like, I wasn't on very many bad teams, but we had years where we were like 500-ish. We were still trying to get into the playoffs. You just don't worry about the big picture. You just worry about what's in front of you that game, that practice, trying to get this guy better, this position group better. You keep your focus small. So this idea of having let's try to go 7-0 and get in the playoffs, that's not helpful. Just got to win tomorrow.
There goes Jalen Ramsey's theory. What was that? His quote before this last game.
Yeah,
it's like we just got to win the rest of the games. You
Yeah.
mentioned that. You know,
don't think big like that. You just got to think about building a little bit. I mean, the team that I think in my recent memory that has done that the best. Do you remember when Don Mattingly had the Dodgers, and they had this great second half? It was like one of the last McCourt years, and they just had a great second half, and they really built off that year. The following season, you can do that in sports. One year can lead to the next, whether it results in a playoff or not. Like the Rams are losing this year because they got decimated on the line. They don't have a lot of depth. They haven't gotten a lot out of the running back position. Stafford's been hurt, but everything around them, depth-wise, can be fortified right now. You can find guys now who can contribute in the future. I mean, that's what you
it's evaluation period right now, right? And John, being around the NBA as long as you have, when something like that happens, and look, I think this is kind of unexpected. Maybe guys inside the locker room maybe had a little, but does everybody else stand up a little straighter at that moment? Does the vibe in the room change?
Sure. Why wouldn't it? I mean, if they're going to cut you, I mean, there's a bunch of guys on the Lakers who, other than Anthony Davis and LeBron, who you could just say are disposable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lonnie Walker probably isn't. He's been really good. But, yeah, I would think that something like cutting Darrell Henderson, if the Lakers were to cut a guy, that everybody else would wake up.
We were talking about SC, final 2 games coming up, and Berg had a concept on this. I think Trav and I felt a little bit different. John, let's say that they beat Notre Dame this Saturday, but then they lost to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. And Trav, wait, with 2 losses, you lost to Oregon, so you're not going to be you're not in the Rose Bowl with 2 losses, right? John, we were talking about this. If they got to the Rose Bowl, let's say they don't get to the college football championship, but they just make it to the Rose Bowl, knowing that you just got to win these 2 games to potentially, I mean, there's a good chance they get in the college football championship if they win these last 2.
They win them and they're in.
John, is it a how do you look at the season? Do SC fans look at it as, you know what, we had a chance to get to the college football championship, but we only made it to the Rose Bowl? Or do you think it's tremendously successful in Lincoln Riley's first year?
I have a lot of friends who are USC fans, and they are elated with Lincoln Riley. I'll tell you a story about that, too. When Mike Bone and Carol Folt refused to fire Clay Helton, every one of my friends were calling for their heads, saying, look, they don't understand USC. They don't get it. They don't understand that the football program is the front porch to the university. It's the biggest piece of advertising that the school has. They're not taking it seriously. They let Clay Helton have a 4-8 team or whatever that was. And Mike Bohn and Carol Folt were dead to the USC alums. They thought they were two incompetent idiots. The minute they hired Lincoln Riley, the second it happened, everything changed. I haven't heard one criticism of Carol. I haven't heard the name Mike Bohn or Carol Folt in a year. I think that Lincoln Riley winning 10 games in his first season, to answer your question, Slee, is a monstrous success, even if they lose these last 2 games. I think Lincoln Riley's a made man.
You don't think that there's the inevitable letdown because you got that close to it? I understand it. At the beginning of the season, you said, hey, listen, you're going to lose 3 games. You're going to have a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback. Of course you sign up for it. But when you are 2 games away from being in the Final Four and all of a sudden you're not, you're in the Holiday Bowl, that's kind of a cold bucket of water.
It's interesting, though, because...
Travis, do you know what Pete Carroll's record was his first year at USC?
6-5 or 5-6, something like that.
Okay.
6-6.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This system that they have built this year, this run, this team, it's all done through the transfer portal.
Yep.
Well, that means you got to do it every single year. Like, that's a lot to put on a team, to have to find the top recruits or the top guys in the transfer portal. It's a lot more like a pro team. Yeah.
It's a free agency pool.
Yeah, it's a free agency pool every single year. That's a lot of work to do it. Some years you're going to nail it, some years you're not. I mean, it's Kentucky basketball is probably the right comp here. Every year it's about, can they get the top 5 of the top 15 freshmen? Mm-hmm. And they have been winning with 5 freshmen or whatever it is. And then do they fit together? If they can get enough of the top freshmen, then they can go and be a contender. But they're only going to be there for a year. Anytime they're really good, it's only going to be 1 year. You got to rebuild again every single year.
We were
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
It's impressive. Listen, it's impressive. I don't think they drop. Notre Dame, we were talking about, they've won 5 in a row. One of their wins against Clemson, who was 4 at the time. So it's not like Notre Dame's a walk in the park. And then if you get past Notre Dame, obviously that's a good matchup against Oregon. We were hitting on this a little bit. We were talking about Anthony Davis a little bit earlier today. I mentioned this. I mentioned it to Michael after they had won 2 in a row, which I know is nothing. But Anthony Davis had a couple good games. Now he's had 3 good games in a row. Ramona, you're a perfect person to ask because I might just be too involved. John might be too involved. We're watching Lakers every single night. How are people looking at Anthony Davis right now based off of these last couple of games? And at what point do you say, wow, no, that's the Anthony Davis from a couple years ago. This is not Anthony Davis in a small sample size.
I think that when you see Anthony Davis play the way he has, you wonder why it doesn't happen all the time. And that is, some of it is on the system, some of it's on him, some of it's on the other players on the team feeding him the ball. He plays like this when they feed him the ball. When it's very clear he's the man. There's no LeBron James out there. Russ has accepted his role.
Yep.
Schroeder's, I think, going to be a nice addition here as things get going more and more. But Anthony Davis is like the clear superstar on the team right now. When LeBron's there, they had a nice 2-man game working at one point in the 2020 season, but they haven't really recaptured that. Anthony Davis kind of loses himself sometimes when
defers too much.
Yeah, whether it's defers or LeBron is not featuring him enough, or Russ or the other guys are not getting him the ball enough. I think what you see right now is a clarity with the Lakers because he's their best option. He's the guy. Got to go to AD.
And really the only option right now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everything
right now, yeah.
Anybody else
on the rack.
Anybody else who gets any looks or anything else, it's because you probably started with AD, double teams game, and
that's the case around the league right now. So one of the conversations I have a lot is when the Sixers have James Harden and Joel Embiid. How do they play together? How do you get those two superstars to meld their games and enhance one another rather than trade off? It was the same when Kevin Durant played in Golden State with Steph Curry. The first month and a half, Steph was too deferential. He was like trying to give the ball to KD, like get him going. Thanks for, and because of it, Steph's game took a back seat. Well, at one point, Steve Kerr had Steph Curry and Kevin Durant come over to his house, and they just talked it out. They were like, here's how we got to do this, guys. And they just worked it out amongst themselves.
But did Steve Kerr take the reins on that?
Steve Kerr invited both of them over.
Yeah.
Then they had a big, I think it was a 2 or 3 hour conversation.
Yeah.
Here's how we're going to do this.
You almost need that moderator in there to do that, right? Because if it's the two guys.
Well, and it also depends on why they're not playing well together. So Steph and KD were both being deferential to the other one. Kevin was trying to be deferential, like I'm the new guy here.
Yep.
Steph was being deferential, like
Almost
I'm the
too
old guy here, too
respectful,
respectful.
sure.
Hey, I promised you we were going to feature you, and blah 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 blah. And so that's what needs to happen again, probably between LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and it's not pointing fingers at either one of them. Like it's not either of their faults, but they got to get somehow to say, this is how we're going to play. Then once you have a clarity of purpose and a clarity of a plan, then you tell everybody else, and whoever doesn't follow sits on the bench.
But this would be the difference this time around. Now you're probably at a point where you can have that conversation. You're hoping for it, right? Every Laker fan's hoping for it. AD, you're the best player on the floor every time you walk out there. And where before it used to be Bron, it's LeBron James. Yeah, you're probably at a stage when he's 20th season in the NBA. He's already missed, 6 of the first 16 games, something along those lines.
Yep.
But I think every Laker fan and the organization has been waiting for AD. You're going to take over at some point. Everybody's been waiting for that, and you can't say he's taking over after 3 games.
Yeah.
But damn, would change the dynamic if he is that guy again.
Yeah, grab the torch, run with it,
take it, and don't give it back.
Yeah,
and then let's see what happens after that. John, I got a quick one for you before I duck out of here, real quick. This goes back to the eliminator pool, real quickly. So all 3 of us are still alive going to next week. Okay. Do you know who? And these are the other 2 guys in, and they're it's B. Gersh 3 and Hurts So Good 3. Do you know who either one of those 2 guys are?
I do not.
Okay, because I want to get to those guys. I want to figure out.
Just send an email to Ken, the guy who runs the pool, and say, hey, I'd like to send an email to these guys. I'm sure I think he would let you.
I really want to hack this thing.
You still got a good one coming up.
Trav, who is your pick for this week?
Miami over Houston.
He's good.
At home in Miami.
Correct.
So you still have the Dolphins. That's awesome.
I still have the
Write
Dolphins.
it out.
I still have
Do
Tennessee.
you know their picks or no?
I'd have to go through it and figure it out.
Who they have
off
left?
the top of my head.
I'm impressed you're so alive. I am always out. When I do Survivor Pools, Eliminator, I'm out in the first 5
I've gotten
weeks.
so lucky. So early in the 5 weeks, I had Denver and New Orleans and the Rams. Okay,
wow.
I got all 3 of those guys.
We all thought
early.
they would be good.
We all thought they'd be good,
It's
but
like
I actually
4 wins
got 'em
combined.
Almost, right? So, yeah, but I still got Tennessee left. I've still got Minnesota left. So those are teams with good records, but I just feel like the luck is going to run out. I know, John, that you went for it with the Jets that one time, but
yeah, I was down to the final 2, and the Rams
know.
were an 18-point favorite. I'm with you, Trav. I think you're playing it right.
Yeah.
I think that you chop it as soon as they let you chop it. Send a note to Ken and see if he'll give you the emails. The other 2 people.
Hook me up, Ken. Mason and Ireland coming up next. We'll see you. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.